Hello, and welcome to Bob Smith and
Sister Billy Bethany Smith on the bell.
alrighty. So, welcome to the show. We're gonna try and have some fun today. All right. Ah, ah, ah. All right. What do we got today? Well, we're gonna offer some support for anybody who wants to tune in. Later on, we'll have some people join the call if they want to. Oh, oh.
Well, honey, I don't know about all this because I'm supposed to be out in field service. Today is Saturday, honey, boo.
So,
Well, honey, I thought we're supposed to go out in field service.
well, not this kind of field service. This kind of field service actually benefits people. Uh, 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 uh. Okay. So, what are we going to talk about today? One of the things I want to talk about is the Prosperity Bible. Now, I know that Jehovah's Witnesses have a pamphlet with the word prosperity on it. But let me ask you something. How are you going to be prosperous if you're not going to school, if you're not going to the university, and you're not working extra hours on your job or on your business? How are you figuring prosperity when you're working for free? Well, maybe it's working for the Jehovah's Witnesses. I don't know.
Well, honey, Jehovah's going to fix all that in the new system, boo. We don't need to be working right now. And we don't need to be going to school, boo. I got my education from the Awake magazine, honey, boo.
Really? The Awake magazine?
Well, yeah, boo. What else? That's the best education. The one from Jehovah, honey.
I guess so. I don't know. I think if you want to make enough money to survive, you're going to need to have a little bit more than a GED or a high school diploma.
Boo, Ian is going to be here any minute now, so we don't need no education, boo. We don't need to go to college. You don't need none of that, honey, boo. What you talking about, Willis?
All right, I guess so. I don't know. But today we're going to talk about some subjects that most people want to run away from. So if you're kind of scary and you don't like to face things that are uncomfortable, then you might want to turn it off right about now. And if you're one of those people that's not scared, that's like, come on, let's do it, it's probably not going to be all that scary for you then.
Oh, Jehovah, honey. Oh, Jehovah, boo.
All right then. I can't see the chat room, but I want to do some shout outs. I want to do a shout out to the newly, freshly faded Jehovah's Witnesses that are in our community. Can you believe it? We got the Jehovah's in our community, all sorts of flavors. We've got faders, of course, right? We've got the ones that are doubters. They're still in, probably for their family or convenience. And they're doubters. And then we've got those who are devout believers. I don't think those are coming to our channels that much as the trolls are. And I'm not quite sure about the trolls. Are they really Jehovah's Witnesses? Or are they just bored ex-Jehovah's Witnesses?
Well, honey, I think that real Jehovah's Witnesses trying to do Jehovah's work, boo. They're trying to make sure you and your friends don't get killed at Armageddon, boo. And what are you doing, Hannah? What are you up to?
Well, I'm going to tell you something. We've been all waiting for this Armageddon for how long now?
Boo, it's going to be here in a minute, boo. Don't you tempt Jehovah. Only Jehovah knows it. Knows when the end is going to be here.
Whatever. We've been waiting for that stupid end since the beginning. And now, it's the freaking end of the end, okay? You know what is the end? You know what Armageddon really is? Armageddon is social media. There, I said it. It's the internet. It's Facebook. It's YouTube. It's all of us and all of you. Look, we're not going to get rid of each other. If you're Jehovah's Witness and you're sitting there and you're listening and you're upset because another apostate has besmirched Jehovah's name, well, guess what? I can't get rid of your butt off of my channel trolling. Well, I can block you, mute you, but I can't stop you from watching my stuff. Nor can I stop you from making another fake profile and starting the whole thing all over again. You know? And you can't stop me from having my say at your householder's cell phone. I'm coming through that cell phone. I'm coming through your cell phone and I'm coming through their cell phone. And before it's over with, you and your householder are going to have me talking to you guys through your cell phone and through your Twitterverse and through your Facebooks and through your emails and through your head and through your mind. You understand?
Barry, you are nothing but an apostate. Get out of here with that. You ain't going to do nothing, boo. Who do you think you are, boo? You ain't going to do a darn thing, honey, boo. Honey. Thinking you are all that. You ain't nothing but from the devil, boo. May Jehovah rebuke you. May Jehovah rebuke you, honey, boo.
So the first, let's see, I was going to get the Prosperity Bible, and then I've got this book here called Adult Children of Abusive Parents by Stephen Farmer. And I think that one might be a little bit more crucial right about now. Yes, I'm going to talk about child abuse. So if you don't want to hear about child abuse, you are welcome to log off right about now. But it ain't going to go away. You know, this is a sticky topic. Nobody wants to talk about it. Everybody wants to run away from it and pretend. People want to get in their cars and scream persecution. Listen, you can call it what you want, but when there's children's safety at stake, I'm going to say something. I'm not going to sit back and watch you or someone you know or someone you love continue to help cover up child abuse and watch children be molested. It's not going to happen. Not here. And if that makes me an evil person, if me speaking up against child abuse and religious institutional cover-ups of it, if that makes me an evil person worthy of death, well then so be it. Which it doesn't. But if that helps you sleep better at night, then go ahead. Who am I to take that away from you? You know, we all have to have something to hang on to. We all have to have something to get up for, a reason to get up in the morning. So if your reason to get up in the morning is to condemn me and other people, then you are a poor person. And I don't mean just financially. You have nothing from your own to give yourself. You have to take from other people's self-esteem. You have to steal their energy. Yes. And you're still coming here to our YouTube channels. Look, you're in your Kingdom Hall right about now. And you're on your iPad, LG pad, whatever it is, your cell phone, and you're listening to me. Instead of listening to Brother Boo Boo, Hooly Boo, Honey Boo, Hooky Boo, whoever he is, Big Gona, instead of listening to your JW.org, friends, you're listening.
To Sister Billy got the nice meal for the boo.
So I'm still not I still don't have the chat up. I'm still kind of getting my thoughts together. I got a feeling today's gonna be a really, really good day. Shout out to Urban Ray, my friend Urban Ray. He's freshly out. I think it's been a year now. He and I, we used to know each other from way back. And so I'm sending a shout out to him. Maybe one of these days he can join us, come on the show, hang out. I think he's a little reserved about things right about now, you know. He's just brand new out. You know how it is.
Boo, you don't need to be out. You need to be back in, boo. You need to be up next to these carts, boo. I'm next to a cart right now, boo, trying to get Jehovahized up in here, and you are living it up in the world, boo. Why are you living it up in the world? Well, I'm out here pounding the pavement, boo. You need to get off your butt and do something this Saturday morning, boo. Are you going out and field service or what, honey, boo? Are you counting your 2 hours of what, honey, boo? Oh, boo, you need to be out in field service for real, boo, and quit trying to hassle people and harass them Jehovah Witness. Quit trying to harass Jehovah Witness trespassing on buildings, boo. What is wrong with you? Can't you see they're busy trespassing? Why are you harassing the trespassers, huh? Why are you harassing Jehovah's trespassers? Huh? Where do you think you are? Just stop doing that, Miss Boo.
It feels like a club up in here now. The walls are kind of vibrating. Let me turn this down. All right. So what's going on? Ooh.
Honey, what are you doing?
I'm getting my highlighters together because we're about to do some major studying right about now. Let's see how many viewers we've got. Oh, we've got 4 viewers. Thanks for tuning in. All right. Let me see. Let me get into the chat. Let me join the chat room and see who's out there in the chat room.
Hey, Big Boss!
All right, we got 411 Big Boss.
Hey, honey, boo, Big Boss! Big Boss, 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 honey, boo. We got Gary Kunkelboo down. Is down there down, honey? Is that deep and dark poop or what? We got Bob's daughter, honey. She says, I can't stand those trolls, honey boo. They suck at live. Yes, they do, honey boo. Mm-hmm. Hey, Obed, honey, Jehovah, Jehovah, Jehovah. Jehovah, 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 oh, 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 Jehovah, 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 oh, 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 oh.
All right, so thanks for joining, everyone. We've got a small crowd here. I feel like we're doing a book study of sorts. Oh, all right. Whoa! Wow! Wow! Oh, whoa! Oh, whoa! Okay. I want to talk about a book called Adult Children of Abusive Parents by Stephen Farmer, director of the Center for Adult Children of Abusive Parents. Let me see if I have this book on my computer as a PDF, because if I can find it, then what I'll do is I'll do a screen share, and you can follow along if you want to. Let's see, Adult Children of Abusive Parents. Please be in my... No, it's not in here. That sucks. I could have sworn I had that thing in here. Stephen Farmer. Okay. All right. Let me see if I can pull it up. Just the cover page of it, and then you can just see an image of it. Support your local library. Support your local public library. You can go into worldcat.org. WorldCat, WORLD, like the word world, and then CAT, cat.org. Plug in your zip code and then punch in the title of the book or the name of the author, and you can find all the local libraries that have that particular book and that you can check out for free from your public library. And if it's not in your local library, if it's not anywhere in your local city, you can do something that's called an ILL, interlibrary loan. And what they do is they'll have the closest library, even if it's in another state, they'll have that library send that book. If they don't have it, they'll ship it to them. And a lot of times it's about $2. They'll only charge you a couple of dollars, $2 or $3 for the shipping, okay? Because they have to ship it. It's a cost to the library. But if you're doing really, really, really important research, which I think mental health, everyone should make that a priority in their life. I don't care who you are, but especially if you're a Jehovah's Witness or an ex-Jehovah's Witness, or anyone who's been involved in any kind of high control group. I think that mental health and issues of psychotherapy and psychology and psychological health, emotional healing, all of those topics should be something that should be a lifelong priority. It should be a lifelong study and a project. That's my thoughts on that. Let's see if we can pull up Adult Children of Abusive Parents. Here we are. This is it. And this man here, let's see. Can I do a screen share right about now? I think I can. Yeah. All right. So we'll do a screen share. I won't be able to go into the chat right now. So if you're in the chat, and you're talking to me, give me a few moments until after we get done with the screen share, and that way I can see what you're saying and we can interact and move further. So here is the book. It's called Adult Children of Abusive Parents, a healing program for those who have been physically, sexually, or emotionally abused, by Stephen Farmer, director of the Center for Adult Children of Abusive Parents. Okay. Ooh. Yeah, I'm trying to use. I have a setup here, and I have my studio set up. So I've got my pop filter, I've got my boom mic, I've got all of that, and I've got the sound coming through the mixing console and all of that. So I'm hoping maybe I can, do something a little bit more fancier later in the future. But in any case, this book here is about 200 and something pages. It's not a very thick book, but I will say it's a very crucial book. So I'm going to read you the back part of it to give you an idea about this book, because I think that this book would probably be something of interest to anyone listening at some point. Excuse me. Even if you think that you were not abused, this could probably help you to understand people that you love and care about around you, because these things happen more than we like to acknowledge. And sometimes people don't even acknowledge that to themselves. So here we go. For anyone who grew up in an abusive environment, this book offers hope, healing, and a chance to recover the self lost in childhood. In recent years, there has been a heightened consciousness of childhood abuse, especially severe physical abuse that results in life threatening injury, and sexual abuse that occurs both inside and outside of the home. Yet, countless children are emotionally abused by their parents and primary caretakers in a way that doesn't make headlines, yet leaves invisible scars. There you have it. And this is what I'm getting at today. Now, my own personal experience, I have no doubt that I was abused, severely abused. There's no doubt. And if I were to go into the details of it right now, which I'm not, most people, everyone would conclude, yeah, there's no doubt. But there are other kinds of child abuse that are invisible. They're not that easily seen. And this is where we're getting at today, because some people are walking around, a lot of people are walking around in pain, in chronic pain, physical pain, and mental and emotional and even spiritual pain. They're walking around in pain unnecessarily. You don't have to be afraid to face things. And I want to tell you something. I know what it's like to sit there and say, no, my mom and dad, no, they're not that bad. This is a common thing. But that pain you're going through, if you're not going to face it and process it, you're going to pass it on to your kids. You can't help but to, because it is all you've known. You haven't changed it. You're not getting any help. You're not aware of it. How can you change something if you're not aware of it? But you can pass it on and not be aware of it. And that's what we're getting at. We don't want anyone else to have to go through what we went through. Whether you just had a light form of emotional abuse, or you're someone who had a lot more extreme. None of us really want that for our children or any children, right? We don't want that for anybody else. So that's what we're doing now. We're being courageous. We're going to do this together. And I'm going to read you a few excerpts of this book. And if you're ready for it, go ahead and check it out of your local library. If you want a copy for yourself, go to Amazon or to your local bookstore and order it. And if you're not ready, it's fine, you know. Maybe you're just ready enough to listen in and listen to a few snippets that I'm going to read to you. And that's it for now, right? That's good too. At least it's a start. So let's move on here. Countless of children are emotionally abused by their parents and primary caretakers. Okay, all right, we talked about the invisible scars. And it says here, in a way that doesn't make the headlines, yet leaves invisible scars, an inability to feel or trust, depression, relationship problems, eating disorders, alcohol or drug abuse, and of course, anyone who experienced physical or sexual abuse as a child must also live with the emotional damage that is part of the mistreatment. What are you thinking about that? Can you relate to that on some level? Can you relate to it a little too much for your own comfort, maybe? Or is it just something that you can't relate to, but you're supportive of anyone who does, who has gone through that? Well, let's move on. A history of childhood abuse is not a life sentence. As adults, we still have the tremendous strength that got us through those early years. Strength that can now be put to use in discovering the creative, innocent, spontaneous individuals we once were. If we can identify what went wrong and start an active program of recovery, then we are well on our way. Drawing on his extensive work with adult children and on his own experience as a survivor of emotional neglect, therapist Stephen Farmer describes what it's really like to grow up in an emotionally abusive family. The lack of boundaries, chaos, denial, and rigid role playing that most abusive families share to help you identify the experiences of emotional abuse that are often still too painful to admit. And I don't have to tell you how many people I know that swear they weren't abused, but then will turn around and share some really, really screwed up mess with me about how their mom and dad did them. But they'll turn around and say, oh no, that's not abuse. And you can't tell them any different. You can't say, well, here in this health medical book here, it says that it's considered abuse, or in this law book here. No. To them, it's no, their mom and dad is an exception because it's their mom and dad. If it was someone else, they would consider it abuse. So once you have become aware of some of the traits of an abusive family, Farmer shows you how to discover and nurture your natural self. Through the use of exercises and journal work, his program leads you through grieving your lost childhood, becoming your own parent, growing up again, and integrating the healing aspects of spiritual, physical, and emotional recovery into your life. Stephen Farmer, MA, MFCC, is the director of the Center for Adult Children of Abusive Parents in Newport Beach, California. He is a popular lecturer, seminar leader, media host. His radio and television credits include Beyond Therapy and Connections program. So let's take a look at the live chat and let's see what everyone's saying. Hey, Awaken.
Hey, Honey Boo. We got Awaken, Honey Boo, and JW Suicide, Honey Boo. Love you, honey. JW Suicide says, honey, all forms of child abuse can actually physically damage a child's brain, boo. Yes, it can, honey boo. Hey, guitar, honey boo. Guitar, guitar, guitar.
Okay, JW suicides, you make a good point. Child abuse can cause physical brain damage, especially to the frontal cortex. I've read some material where damage to the frontal cortex or the neocortex can cause narcissistic behaviors, psychopathic behaviors, but that's inconclusive. It's not written in stone, but scientists and doctors do speculate that. So at a couple of pages inside of the book here, and if you're just tuning in, I want to thank you. I want to wish you a happy Saturday. We're out here hanging out in support of Jehovah's Witnesses, ex-Jehovah's Witnesses, victims and survivors, and anyone who just wants to hang out. We're talking about adult children of abusive parents, and we're reviewing a book with that same title, A Healing Program for Those Who Have Been Physically, Sexually, or Emotionally Abused. And earlier, when we just started talking about it, we covered all of the major forms of abuse. There are four types. You've got the physical, we've got sexual, and you have emotional, and I also would say spiritual. And I think that if a child has had to go through any one or more of the previous three, physical, sexual, or emotional, I think by default there is a spiritual abuse of that child. So there's that. What do you think about that? What do you think? What are your definitions of abuse? Do you think it's just abuse if you can see the scars? What about if, let's say, a kid comes home from school and the mother's kind of stressed. She's trying to hurry up and rush for dinner. Maybe the kid's late and, maybe he's just throwing his books anywhere. He's not tidying anything up. The mother's probably spent all day trying to get things together and clean them. And then she yells at the kid. She doesn't hit him or anything. She just yells at him, and she's stressed and he cries. Is that abuse? What about a spank? What about a pop on the butt or a pop on the shoulder? That doesn't leave a red mark, but it's still a pop. It stings. Should parents hit their children? Should that be something? Well, let's see what Guitar has to say here. Well, Guitar says, my brain's got boogers too, JEW suicides. Brain boogers.
Oh, honey, I've never heard of brain boogers, boo. What kind of brain boogers, honey? Well, honey, I tell you what.
I don't know about the brain boogers, but I know I've had some brain farts before. My brain's farted before. But I want to give out a shout out to SFB, my friend SFV. I just sent her an invite, so if she happens to tune in at some point, love you. Thanks for your love and support. All right, let's take a look here. Guitar, he says, I think it can be traumatic and formative to an extent, but I don't know if all degrees are abuse. Okay. All right. JW Suicides in the live chat says, but often psychology, etc., doesn't acknowledge the spiritual damage. Yep, that is also a good point. Five Artes Liberales.
Hi, Horner Boo. Hey, Boo. Welcome to the channel, Horner Child. And they say there was nothing about the Australian Royal Commission investigation on the news here in Germany, honey. Not 1 second.
Ja, aber das kann sich noch ändern. Das wird sich noch ändern in der Zukunft. I said in German that that's going to change in the future. And Guitar in the live chat says, many seemingly small events can actually have a large effect on us, though. Yes. Yes. That, you know what, you guys are all making a really, really great point. Because we're all looking for that big bang. You know, watchtowers down. This is it. It's fallen. Bam. And we're all missing the small, trivial, everyday winnings, victories that are so easy to miss. And it's a really, really good point. It's the small accumulations that add up to the big Lollapalooza events. So, JW Suicides, I want to go back to a comment you made in the live chat about psychology not acknowledging the spiritual damage there. And that is a very, very good point because, like I said, if a child has been abused on any level, automatically by default, there is a spiritual abuse that has also occurred of the spirit of that child. It just makes sense. And we're not talking about anything religious here. We're talking about spirit, the spirit of a person, the essence of that person has been injured and hurt. One hurts one child may not hurt another. None are right or wrong. It's how the child experiences it. JW Suicides. Now, that last part, how the child experiences it, yes, I agree with that. Now, the other one, none are right or wrong, it all depends, because if you're talking from a legal standpoint, then if someone has abused a child and there aren't two witnesses there, but there's DNA evidence to prove that they've done that, then there's clearly a wrong there, especially when you're talking about the law. There's clearly a legal wrong, and I would say a moral wrong too. Now, I don't know, Jehovah's Witnesses might not consider that wrong. You know, Jehovah's Witnesses have different moral standards when it comes to pedophiles and things like that. JW Suicide says a child has a natural sense of justice. They know when something is wrong, but they can't articulate it. And that is so true. Guitar says, some good friends of mine say we can feed two different wolves inside of us, the loving one or the hateful one. Every action has to go either wolf. We can weaken the one by not feeding it. There is a dark side to us, and there is a light side. Throughout ancient history, throughout the Bible, even if you wanna, if that's your thing and you hold that relevant, every major ancient teaching, whether secular or spiritual, talks about polar opposites, the yin and the yang of the East, the plus and minus of the science, the art and science of magic and the occult, the mother and father of the family. There is a polar opposite, the physical and the non physical. And yes, I totally agree. It is all about a balance, the middle pillar, an equilibrium. If you're too severe, if you're too strict, then you're cruel. You're lacking in enough compassion. But if you have too much mercy, and if you're too nice and you're not assertive somewhere, you're lacking assertiveness, well, then you're a doormat and you're going to be used and abused. I'm talking about an adult here now, because children never have the power to decide whether they are going to be abused. Children never have that because they're children. They're not adults yet. But if you're an adult, a healthy adult, then it's all about facing the dark side of yourself. We all have the potential to kill. Don't tell me you don't. You sat there and watched all those slasher movies and horror movies, and you've watched people getting sliced and diced thousands of times in a year's time. You've just got done playing a video game where you shot up about 3,000 soldiers or whatever it is. And you're mean to tell me that you have it there in your heart, you're just not seeing it. And little kids have it. Little kids are playing these war games because it is inside of us. It doesn't mean we're going to go out and kill anyone necessarily, but those thoughts, those ideas are still looming in our consciousness, young and old. Look at the kids' video games, blasting people, slicing them, war, killing, World of Warcraft. All these little kids are playing it, and adults. Warcraft, shooting, slicing, warring, fighting. It's part of our nature, and we need to face it and process it correctly. Because if we don't, we're going to hurt each other. We're going to take it out on our children, and they're going to continue to take it out on theirs, and we're going to continue to be part of misery and pain. But then there's the other side of us that's beautiful and awesome and loving and creative. Guitar in live chat says, some good friends of mine say we can feed two different. Oh, I've already read that part. I meant to read over here. JW Suicide says, bloody wrongs against kids are wrong. And we adults need to protect that. Guitar says we must stand up for the weaker and defenseless people in our midst. And 5 Artes Liberales says you must unlearn what you have learned and let your moral compass guide you. And Guitar says those movies and games can desensitize us, remove that apprehension to kill. Hey Mia T, welcome to the chat. Mia T says not everyone is so violent. I can't stand bloody, gory stuff. Me neither, Mia T. I don't like to watch gory, violent movies and slashing and what have you. I'll tolerate it if it has to be part of a plot, an intelligent movie. What can I say? I'm a nerd. I'm a bona fide nerd. I'm gonna let you. I'm just gonna like confess now. I'm come out of the nerd closet. You guys are probably like, "What? We knew that already. Coming out? We just what? You just now figured that out about yourself?" No. Okay. So but I wake up in the morning and I love information. I have piles of books around me on just about any subject you can think of because for me, it's like a drug or a high to have a new idea, to learn something new. And I constantly have to have that throughout the day. Every few hours, I gotta have a light bulb moment or else I won't feel right. I'll feel stagnant. And I'm constantly putting myself out of my own comfort zone, pushing my own limits, facing my own fears, and anybody close to me, un- I guess maybe not unfortunate. I think it's a good thing. I think it's a growth. It helps people grow. But some people can't take that energy and they can't take me around them in their life that close because I make things move and they might not be ready for a lot of movement in their life. So yeah, it's but that's me. I wake up in the morning, I've got to have a lot of info. I love books and people and getting out there and making changes and making them sooner than later. Not sitting back and waiting, you know, sticking a fork in it and calling it done type of thing. So let's take a look at this next page here. I've gone through this book. It's got 8 chapters, okay? 8 like the octaves of the musical scale. And the first part, let's see how many parts. I think it has 2 parts. 8 chapters and 2 parts. So the first part is about growing up abused, and the second part is about recovering and beginning your recovery. So in the first part of growing up abused, the first chapter is beyond survival. The second chapter is growing up in an abusive family. So here you get into the meat and potatoes of what abuse is, how that picture looks, what people go through. Number 3 is surviving the abuse. Number 4, the roles that bind. And this lays out the cookie cutter roles that you'll see in dysfunctional families. And I know that when a lot of the XJW community gets a hold of this book, they might see some very familiar patterns that they have experienced or maybe have seen other people's family go through. So that was a very interesting chapter for me. The roles that bind. That's page 57 of Adult Children of Abusive Parents. A healing program for those who have been physically, sexually, or emotionally abused by Stephen Farmer. It is an important contribution to the adult child literature. Its quality of content goes beyond most books on adult children. And this is a quote by author Charles Whitfield, MD, author of Healing the Child Within and Boundaries and Limits, which is also a very good book. He is also a favorite author of mine. I'll talk about some of his books a little later. But back to this one here. The second part on the recovery, he has some really interesting visualization exercises that I've done, and I really felt myself being able to slowly be more compassionate to myself on things and my own personal history. It it took some working. At the time, I wasn't able to sit still very long or concentrate, so I had to take. It took me about 3 or 4 years of going through this book and reviewing layers of it and doing the exercises again and again and then getting away from it for some time and then coming back to it again and then taking another break and coming back to it. So I've done some extensive work on just this book alone here, and then on just that section on recovery. That section there has healing your inner child, coming to your senses, becoming aware, and this section, first of all, gets you grounded and in touch with your physical body. A lot of us are not connected to our own bodies anymore. We've had to detach and disconnect so many things of ourselves as a result of being a Jehovah's Witness, which included the body. And sexual abuse survivors, especially, may have that because of being physically and sexually abused. You have a section here up from repression, remembering the trauma. So there are some exercises here where you can really get in deep. I would say to you, if you're going to do this, be sure to have at least one trusted professional, competent, compassionate mental health professional on hand to go with you through this. Now, I know that some people don't have a lot of money on this. You can go to your local free medical clinics, call your local, I think it's called 211, and you can find out and get information. Google free or low cost clinics. There are many mental health services that even have a sliding scale or that can make payment arrangements. But you don't want to go through this alone. You want somebody there. And please don't use your friends and family as substitutes for counselors. It's not fair to them and it's not fair to you. Okay? And it's not going to help you. They're not counselors, they're not professionals, they're not trained, and they should not serve as substitutes. Even if they offer to, they should remain exactly what they are. Either they're your relative or your friend or whomever, and that's where that should stay. Don't make them your counselor. That's what ruins a lot of relationships. Okay, so having said that, the next part, grieving the loss of your childhood. And this took me a long, long time. It took me, like I said, it took me about 2 or 3 years to really start being able to cry, because I was not able to cry for so long, and I tried so hard and I could not shed any tears. It was very difficult. I had a lot of pain and sadness locked inside, and um, that grief process, I was so afraid of it, I had locked it away for good. And so going through that, breaking through the denial, that was hard for me too. Acknowledging and releasing the anger. I had the anger, but I never wanted to acknowledge it, and I never wanted to release it. And what would start happening was it just comes out when it's too much and it's out of control. So this helps you to acknowledge the anger. A lot of ex-Jehovah's Witnesses, they want to say, oh, just, I don't want to think about anything negative, and we just want everything positive, and I'm over this, and I'm just put this behind me, and you should too, and you shouldn't be angry, and just forget about it and move on. And there's no acknowledgement there, and really having a safe way to release the anger. Releasing your hurting child's sadness, freeing yourself by acceptance, letting go of the past, forgiving your parents. Now, I'm going to pre-qualify this last statement because I'm not saying for you to forgive your parents if this is the case with you. I'm not saying for anyone to forgive anyone, because that is a personal choice. And I don't like it when I see other people or even other counselors say you must forgive, which this book doesn't do that. That's why I went ahead and gave you that pre-qualification to that. All right. Reparenting yourself. Releasing your original parents, creating new internal parents, adopting your inner child. And those exercises there I have done, and I still do them every once in a while. I go through them because they are just so healing, and they really work. They really work for me. And I'm going to turn to this chapter of reparenting yourself here. As a child, You decided that you were bad based on the logic that your parents would not have treated you as they did if you were good. Although you could not have acknowledged it when you were a child and may still have some difficulty doing so today, you carry inside you the internalized parental images of an abusive and depriving bad mother and bad father based on the parenting you received. These are the parental images to whom your hurting child readily relates. So those images are still inside of us. Those things that we went through and the kind of people that our parental guidance was, those are still inside of you and I until we go in and change those images. Literally, it's an image that you can change. Whenever you mentally beat yourself up or do not take good care of your needs, like overeating, not smoking cigarettes, not getting enough sleep, you know what I mean, right? All right. Whenever you mentally beat yourself up or do not take good care of your needs, your internalized bad mother and bad father is operating. You can sometimes hear the voice of this internal parent in your self-talk, identified by its disrespectful and abusive language and tone. You'll never amount to anything. Who do you think you are? Jehovah's going to destroy you at Armageddon. You see, that's what's happening there. It's your internalized bad mother or dysfunctional father. For instance, a while back, I thought I had been insulted when I had not been. When I found out the truth, I said to myself, boy, am I stupid, repeatedly for several minutes. At first I was puzzled, but then I realized this was a message I had gotten from my father long ago. This was a bad father message. Not that my father was bad, but I still carried within me all his abusive messages. As long as these are the only internal parent images known to your inner child, your hurting child will continue to think of her or himself as bad. Your controlling child will see the need to take care of you, and your natural child will stay buried. So we've got the inner child, and we've got some component parts of that. We've got the hurting aspect, which is the hurting child. You've got the controlling child that wants to take care of you and help you survive. And then your natural child, which is buried deep inside. This is why it's necessary to reparent your inner child. Unless you had some positive experiences during childhood with significant adults to whom you could turn, you are missing an internalized mental symbol of a more protective and loving mother and father. If you did admire certain adults while growing up, these have come to internally represent good mother or good father. You can now turn to them as an adult. You can turn to your good mother image for comfort, care, unconditional love, acceptance, and nurturing. All the good things a good mother would be. She would love you no matter what you did. You could turn to your good father image for guidance, protection, setting boundaries, and encouragement. All the things you imagine a good father would provide. So this is basically where we're at. We all have these images inside of us, parental images, and we all work from them, whether we consciously recognize it or not. Our decisions and our behaviors, our emotions, our daily experience is based off of those internal parent images that we've drawn from our parents or those who raised us and took care of us. So I'm going to take a quick break. I don't know where all of this sound comes from. Okay, I'm going to take a quick break, and then we're going to get back to the live chat, and we're going to see what the live chat has to say. What do you think about this stuff here? What do you think about the internal parents and reparenting yourself? What do you think about forgiving your parents or not forgiving them? And what about abusive self-talk that might be stemming from your parents? Do you do that sometimes? Do you call yourself stupid, or do you beat yourself up sometimes? Have you beat yourself up for not attending the memorial if you didn't go? Are you being pressured right now to remain as a Jehovah's Witness for family, and do you feel guilt over that? What do you think? We'll get your questions. We'll talk some more. We're going to listen to some music and take a quick break. All right, let's do it. Where's the DJ at? DJ? Well, here's the next song.
Show me how the day feels beautiful it could be. If I get closer, closer to you, get close to the chemistry now, just magnetic. Let me show you what else we can do. This is our story, we both get kinda sweaty. Breathe me in deeply, put your love inside me. This is our story, the air gets kinda heavy. Breathe me in deeply, put your love inside me. Put your love inside me. Put your
I want to thank you for tuning in. Thanks for listening in. If you just tuned in, we're hanging out on a Saturday. Today we're talking about adult children of abusive parents. Prosperity Bible, and anything else you want to talk about. Oh, 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 whoa, 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 whoa. Put your love, oh, oh. All right. So what kind of ideas do you have about the reparenting? What do you think about that? Does it sound crazy to you?
Well, honey, I think if you're running around imagining that you have a mom and dad when you already had a mom and dad, though, I think that's crazy.
Yeah, but what if your mother and dad just aren't able to really be the kind of mom and dad you need them to be.
Boo, you need to be thankful for what you got, boo. At least they took care of you and brought your food and put clothes on your back and gave you a roof to be over. What else do you want, boo?
What else? How about compassion, emotional health, mental health? It's not enough to have food. What? Are your kids like animals? You're going to stick them in a cage and just give them food and water?
No, boo. But you know what it takes to make a living, to raise kids? Do you know how hard it is?
Look, all I'm saying is don't neglect your mental health. You were in pain all those years. You know about the two witness rule. And you're going to keep on pretending it's not there and keep on until you take it to your grave?
Look, we don't need no worldly knowledge. That's nothing but worldly knowledge from worldly people, boo. They don't know Jehovah, boo.
Oh, yeah? Well, you guys know Jehovah, but you've got all kinds of pedophilia. And you've got the two witness rule. So how useful is that?
Well,
All right. So let's go to the live chat. And let's see what live chat has to say. All right. King of Faders is in the chat. King of Faders. How? Look at King of Faders.
hey, honey boo.
JW Suicide says, very wise words, Bob. I'm popping out again. Might be back later. All right, say JW Suicides. Thanks for stopping by. Love ya. All right. So Guitar says, the inner child can be stifled and left out to dry. And that makes the caring child have to compensate for the incomplete part of us. Yeah, exactly. Let's see. We have 3 viewers. And we've got about that many people in the live chat. Want to thank you for viewing. Want to thank you for chatting. We're out here showing love and support to the XJW community. And right about now, we are talking about adult children of abusive parents. Another thing I wanted to show you about this. Let's see. I really like the fact that you get to make your own conclusions on things. For example, it says here, okay, it says here, statistics, all right, here we go. This is page 4. These adult children were all abused when they were growing up. All right, so this is the first chapter, the first page. Beyond survival, Norma has no close friends, seldom goes out, and discourages her husband George from going out as well. Her possessiveness makes George feel trapped, so he's joined a bowling league to have an excuse to be away from home. Each time he gets ready to leave for his night out, Norma asks and nags and begs him not to go, and usually he complies. George is getting more and more resentful of Norma's clinginess and is withdrawing from her more and more. As Norma senses his withdrawal, she clings all the tighter. Norma is an adult child of abusive parents. Do you know anyone like Norma?
Oh, honey, I know a lot of Normas, honey, boo, at the Kingdom Hall, boo. They feel like a man has got to be in their life or else they won't be able to live, honey. They are so clingy to that man, honey. They drag behind him, boo. Honey.
All right, let's go to the live chat. Guitar in the live chat says the well part was Sister Smith. Okay, so do you know of a Norma? I've known of a Norma before. I have known of a Norma before. Let's go on to Art. Art owns and operates his own accounting firm. He has built it into a very successful business over the last 10 years. Although he now has others working for him, he still puts in 15-hour days. Wow. His stomach is constantly in knots, and he complains about feeling tired and run down. He eats antacid like it's candy. His wife has been trying to get him to slow down for some time, but has just about given up. Every time she threatens to leave him, he slows down his frenetic work pace, but only for a short while. During what little time he spends with his daughter, he usually gets frustrated and ends up yelling at her. Art feels depressed much of the time, and no matter how well his business does, he feels like he has to do more. Art is an adult child of abusive parents. Art reminds me of a workaholic. What do you think? I think Art is a workaholic here. I kind of see myself in Art a little bit, you know. I like to get out there and make things happen. I like to work. I like to accomplish things. And I never can seem to let myself have enough space to enjoy those when I do finish projects or when I do accomplish something. I'm always off to the next thing again. And I think I see myself a little bit in that. What about you? Are you a workaholic? Are you a go-getter? Are you someone that maybe tends to overextend at times or often? Well, there might be a reason for it. Patty haunts happy hours and singles groups looking for love. She feels empty, lonely, and depressed most of the time. Once in a while, she'll meet a man who looks like a good prospect. There's a feeling of excitement and electricity and a lot of intensity between them. She goes home with him. They end up having sex, and typically he's gone the next day, never to call again. Patty is left once again feeling empty, lonely, and depressed. To feel better, she resumes to hunt. Patty is an adult child of abusive parents. So, Patty is somebody who is looking for love.
She's looking for love in all the wrong places, honey, boo. What she should have been doing is coming to the Kingdom Hall, boo. Going out there in field service, boo. Jehovah's gonna bless her, honey.
Really? Well, I guess so. So it says here that all of these were abused as children when they were growing up. They may want to minimize the issue and deny the effects, but the conclusion is inescapable. The abuse they suffered in childhood continues to substantially affect them. They long for a break in their cycles of repetitious, self-defeating patterns of behavior, yet they cling to familiar habits because they know no other way. Conflict and struggle dominate their lives, as do persistent feelings of being victimized, exploited, and betrayed by others. Statistics suggest that millions of adults today were victims of childhood mistreatment. In Healing the Child Within, Charles L. Whitfield, MD, says, not everyone was mistreated or abused as a child, obviously. No one really knows how many people grow up with a healthy amount of quality of love, guidance, and other nurturing. I estimate perhaps 5 to 20%. So this psychiatrist, Charles Whitfield, MD, estimates about 5 to 20% of the human population has grown up in a healthy family background. 5 to 20%. That's not a lot of people. You're looking at 8 billion people on this globe, and most of them are in dysfunctional families. It's at least 80 to 95% of them. That's a lot of people. This means that from 80 to 95% of people did not receive the love, guidance, and other nurturing necessary to form consistently healthy relationships and to feel good about themselves and about what they do. This means millions of people today are grown up victims of some sort of abuse. Often, the symptoms of abuse are not obvious to others or even to themselves. What do you think about that? Often, the symptoms of abuse are not obvious to others, nor will they be obvious to you. Now, that is something to think about. Think about yourself and all of the pain that you've experienced up until now in your life. All of the negative emotions, pain and sadness and anger and stress. Some of that was unnecessary and can be avoided in the future, possibly. Some of that could be part of this that stems back to the fact that 80 to 90% of people did not receive the love, guidance, and nurturing necessary to form consistently healthy relationships from their background or to feel good about themselves and about what they do. All right. So the symptoms of abuse are not obvious to others or even themselves. No broken legs, no damaged tissue. They seem fine with no physical signs of having been injured. They are ordinary people, just like Norma, Art, Patty, and Greg. Yet they continue to feel anxious, depressed, and lonely. They continue to be trapped by their past, yet only vaguely aware that their present day difficulties are substantially related to their childhood history. At some level, they realize there has to be something more to life. So, think about that one. You can't always know and see just how you might have been affected. Number two, 80 to 95% of people around you did not receive the type of love and guidance necessary for consistently healthy relationships and to feel good about themselves and what they do. So look around you. Most people are in the same shoes as you are. Now, I'm not saying that most people have experienced the same exact things as you have, but based on principle, most people around you and around me have not had the most healthiest family background, and their current family relationships are affected due to that, and even they are about how they see themselves and who they are. So, check out this book. It's a really great thing. I think this book is good. One more point on emotional maltreatment of children. Emotional damage is often the underlying problem in many, if not most, cases that first appear as other forms of abuse and neglect. Thus, in most cases of physical or sexual abuse, it is the emotional scars rather than the physical ones that must receive special attention. Unless Emotional maltreatment is considered an essential piece of the puzzle. Efforts to protect and nurture children are incomplete at best and doomed to failure at worst. Whether it is your body or your mind that is assaulted, your heart and spirit are always wounded in the process. While injuries to the body heal relatively quickly, emotional injuries leave more permanent but less obvious psychological scars. Emotional abuse does not occur only as a byproduct of other types of abuse, but it is significant and damaging in its own right. You may never have been hurt physically by your parents and made it through childhood without as much as a scratch, yet still you have been abused. The old saying about sticks and stones needs to be revised to reflect the truth. Words can hurt. Words, as stated in a recent advertising for the National Committee for Prevention of Child Abuse, can hit as hard as a fist. The authors of Emotional Maltreatment of Children stress the need to recognize emotional abuse as tragic and very real problem. As surely as one can break a child's bones, one can break a child's spirit. Society is coming to grips with the physical abuse and neglect of children, and that is a major accomplishment. But physical assault is not the only form of abuse, nor is nutritional starvation the only form of neglect. Emotional neglect, emotional assault, and psychological starvation are of equal, if not greater, importance as social problems. When you are a child, rejection, fear, and constant humiliation take their toll on you emotionally and spiritually. When you becoming an adult, the effects of this emotional devastation are still with you. So I am going to stop here with this book. We're going to take a break. Just wanted to share a few passages here with you on this topic. If you're interested, if you just tuned in, we covered Adult Children of Abusive Parents, a healing program for those who have been physically, sexually, or emotionally abused by Stephen Farmer. So check him out. Go to your local public library. I'm all about supporting your local public library, worldcat.org, WORLDCAT.org, worldcat.org. Plug in your zip code, plug in the title of the book, Adult Children of Abusive Parents, hit enter, and you will see all of your local libraries that might carry the book. If they don't, you can do something called an ILL. It is called an interlibrary loan. Your local library will fill out a couple of papers. They will request the other library that has the book to send it for a small donation. I think it's $2 or $3, depending. But great stuff. Anyway, if you want your own copy, you're always welcome to go to Amazon or to the bookstore. All right, let's check live chat. Let's see what we've got here in live chat. All right. Guitar in live chat says, all right, let me scroll back. Sounds like she's going to be abandoned. Does anyone who is with a Norma have to pay for the sins of Norma's parents? Are their spouses giving reasons for distrust, or is it all the upbringing? And Mia T says, what's normal? Guitar says, many types of abuse come from different people in life. It may seem normal to some onlookers and hence not identified as abuse. Now that is a very, very good point. Mia T says, breaking the spirit is the purpose of discipline, so they say. So here we go into spare the rod, spoil the child, right? It's to break the child. So there is no accident here when the parents are beating the children with the intention of breaking your children. Then you're consciously breaking that child's spirit. There's no confusion there. People don't see that as evil. They don't see that as something wrong with it. And perhaps we need to look at that and evaluate that. What do you think? I'll tell you something now. When I was physically beaten, it never made me stop doing whatever it is they were beating me for. It only solidified my resolve to do what I wanted to do. And in my case, I had already read quite a bit of psychology and sociology textbooks from the thrift store as a kid. So I knew that there was something wrong at home. I knew that these two adults weren't quite right. And I knew that already to a large extent as a child. But now you have some children, not every child is different. So do you think that parents should be putting their hands on the kids and smacking them, slapping them, even if they don't draw blood? Do you think it's still something that is normal to just smack your kid? Think about it. You tell your kid, you teach your kid no violence, but then you beat your kid up. You show displays of violence in your discipline, and you let your kid watch all these violent movies and video games. So then your kid grows up and then one day smacks you down. If you're an old person, you can't, your son is like 6'5", and you're this little old pop, and he smacks the heck out of you. And what are you going to do? You're going to get indignant? I mean, this is what you taught him since he was a little baby. All right, let's see what Mia T has to say. Guitar and Mia T. Guitar says, I guess some may say that Mia, but discipline can be good since it's not always abuse, in my opinion. Hi, Exelizer. Welcome to the chat. And he says, an explanation is not an excuse. Some think of it as an excuse, but hey, that's me. Okay, Mia T says beating and humiliating is wrong. Discipline can be that look from your mama or daddy or extra chores and time out. That's right. That's right. So, yeah, we've got some really interesting stuff here. Hey. Hey, I gotta go. I'm on the mic. Text me. All right. Okay. All right, bye. Love you, bye. Okay, sorry about that, everyone. The phone rang. Okay, so I, for one, I don't like the idea of physical punishment for children. I am the kind that I think if you had reasoned with me, I would have. And I don't think I was a bad kid. My main thing was what's always been art, books, computers. Nothing's really changed with me on that end. I've always been doing this stuff. So I wasn't a kid that was out of control or got into trouble, drugs or ran with the wrong crowd. I was never like that. I ran with the library crowd. which wasn't a very exciting. I mean, to me it was exciting, but some of the other kids didn't think I was too exciting back in the day. But they're not doing too well financially. I mean, I'm a big believer in books. Books are nice.
Books are your friends, honey.
So, how's everybody doing today? I want to thank you for tuning in. See, we got 4 viewers. Thank you for tuning in, viewers. And we're talking about adult children, survivors of abuse. And we're talking about the Prosperity Bible in a bit. And what else do we have going on? All kinds of cool stuff. We're hanging out, chilling. Here as a form of support for those who may need it and want it.
So, honey, I don't know why these people over here in Russia think that they are going to be all of that. Because there ain't no persecution in Russia, boo. They can still be Jehovah's Witness. They just can't gather around, boo. And they can't preach in the streets, boo. That's all that is. They ain't really banned, are they?
I don't know. I wouldn't think it's a real ban. I mean, to me, a ban is like, you can't be in our country. You can't exist. But they're just telling them you can't congregate.
Yeah, honey, I don't know, boo. I don't know what kind of ban that is. Can you really call it a ban? I mean, you can still exercise your Jehovah's Witness rights. You just can't recruit people into it.
Maybe that's what they're saying. That's their right to recruit people. Their right to like knock on your door on Saturday morning when you're sleeping. They have a right to do that. I don't know.
Well, boo, I guess they have a right to trespass, boo.
Yeah. All right. So, if you just tuned in, I want to thank you for tuning in. We're hanging out today on a Saturday, talking about adult children, adult survivors of childhood abuse, of abusive parents, and we're talking about prosperity and other XJW issues. You like this Katy Perry song? It reminds me of the Jehovah's Witnesses a little bit.
Jehovah, 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 Jehovah. Jehovah. Jehovah, 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 honeyboo, 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 Jehovah, honeyboo, 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 oh, Jehovah, Jehovah, oh, Jehovah. Jehovah, Jehovah God, kingdom home. Jehovah, Jehovah, Sonny Boo, that's Honey Child, Honey Boo. Honey boo, 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 oh, honey boo, honey boo, honey, honey boo, oh, honey boo, 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 oh, Jehovah, honey boo, honey boo. Oh, Jehovah, honey boo. Oh, Jehovah, honey boo. Oh, honey boo. Oh, honey boo. Oh, honey boo. So, honey, are you ready for this Bible study or what, boo? Honey boo, honey boo, honey boo, honey boo, honey boo, honey boo, oh, honey boo, honey boo, honey boo, honey boo, oh, Jehovah, oh, Jehovah, boo. I said, oh, Jehovah, boo. Jehovah, honey boo, honey boo,
All right, so I hope you enjoyed that. All right, so let's see what the live chat. Have I lost my live chat? Where am I? I'm kind of lost right about now. Where'd I go? Here I am. Okay, so we've got guitar in the live chat. We've got Exelizer. What's up, everyone? All right, guitar in the live chat says they're definitely living in a bubble, and he's talking about the Jehovah's Witnesses. I agree. They are living in a bubble, you know. I totally agree about that. But Exelizer, he says, great video by Mike and Kim about propaganda from July 17th Watchtower. I got a chance to take a quick gander at that one earlier, and yeah, it is a good video for sure. So don't miss that one by Mike and Kim. And they're pretty much detailing the propaganda techniques of the Watchtower. Mike and Kim, I love those two. I love you guitar, Exelizer, Mia T. I love Denise, everybody, Big Boss, all everybody out here who's doing what they can. I love all of you. Even if you're not doing anything, you might be somebody who can't be out in the open. You might be a Jehovah's Witness, and you're still here. You're just not as you just don't have a conspicuous presence. But I still want to thank you for that as well, because you are still part of the community. And I think the line between Jehovah's Witness and ex-Jehovah's Witness is blurring through social media. On the outside, we can sit at the Kingdom Hall and wear the suits and ties and the special clothing, and we can do all of these special things that symbolize and signify we're Jehovah's Witness, and those people over there aren't. But in the privacy of your technology, of your cell phone, of your laptop, of your pad, you're here. You might even be sitting at a Kingdom Hall listening to me right now. And that doesn't change. They can't stop that. Nobody can stop that, you see. And that's where the line has blurred. When you're going from door to door and you're preaching to people about Jehovah and the organization, that person at some point is going to go on their cell phone and Google jw.org. They're going to do it. And on the fourth result is going to be a news report about the Australian Royal Commission from Mike and Kim's YouTube. Check it out. Google it. Go to another computer. Google it from other browsers. You're going to see the same result. So, Jehovah's Witnesses, you can no longer claim ignorance. You might have done it 5 years ago, maybe 2 years ago, but not now. Guitar has something with holy undergarments. Yeah, you see, love is. You see that Exelizer. We're not. We are all kinds of people, and for the most part, we all get along pretty well. We have our own personality conflicts, but I've just met nothing but great people in all the years I've been out and about. I've come across and met some really, really nice ones. Don't get me wrong, I've met people that probably I wouldn't, I would love from a distance. And I'm sure there's people that feel that way about me and about you. We don't all like each other the same or whatever. We don't all vibe the same way. But for the most part, even with that, I still have met some great people that were on a different path, but they were just as great as ever. They were into a lot of things and had a lot of goals that were really great and accomplishments that I could respect. So, edibles? Who's got edibles? Mia T, are you a 420 person? Do you do pot? Exelizer in the live chat says, sick and twisted, liking other people and wishing them well. I know, right? That's so sick. It's not like how the Jehovah's Witness, they see you and they want to turn their head like you've got the plague. They want to shun you. Or like, who else? Oh, by the way, have you all ever heard of the Exclusive Brethren? It's a very, very strict, high control Christian fundamentalist group. And it is called the Exclusive Brethren. Now, if you think that Jehovah's Witnesses are crazy or restrictive, just wait till you dig up the Exclusive Brethren. How about You can't even stay at a hotel. It is against God to stay at a hotel. So I don't know how these people travel. I guess they don't travel. But you can't stay at anyone's home that isn't exclusive brethren. And it's only about 40,000 members worldwide. So, yeah. Mia T says, I live in the Bible Belt. And you have my condolences, Mia T. Mia T, I feel so sorry. I know what it's like to live in the Bible Belt. I've had that traumatic experience before. I hated it. So many self-righteous mofos, and freaking all kinds of disgusting skeletons in the closet, but want to swear up and down they're better than you are and want to tell you how to live, and then they don't even take their own advice. Oh, yeah. Mia T says in live chat, I can't even get Lortab for my pain. Even that's getting illegal in my state. Looks like you need to move.
Hey, Mark Floyd, honey boo. Mark Floyd. Mark Floyd says, honey, watch a great movie called Son of Rambo that deals with those noodles a bit, honey boo. Ex Eliza says, I thought Bob said explosive brethren. Oh, honey boo. And Mia T said, I thought the holy undergarment might be fun if they were edible. Oh, honey boo. Guitar says, that's because Ho is in the hotel and they don't want you reading that in the Gideon's Bible. Oh, you know what? That's probably why they don't want the explosive, the explosive brethren to stay in the hotel, because the Ho is in the hotel in that Gideon's Bible. Yeah, that's some crazy stuff. You know that explosive, but yeah, who was exclusive brethren? Aleister Crowley. Aleister Crowley was a born in and raised exclusive brethren. His father was a preacher, very devout. His family was very, very devout. He had a very, very devout father that was exclusive brethren preacher. And his father died. I can't remember the exact age. He was a young kid, 5 or 10 years old. His father died, and it impacted him very much so. And he also came from a very dysfunctional background. His mother, from what I understand, there was at least some covert sexual incestuous abuse. She would beat she would get him to take his clothes off and spank him on his genitals. She would tell him how men are terrible. She would curse his genitals. She would call him the beast, the devil, the antichrist. So I think that might have impacted him when he got to be an adult. And but yeah, he was exclusive brethren. And for the first, I think his first 18 years of his life, until he was an adult, he was only allowed to read one book. Imagine only being able to read one book for all of your life until you get to be 18. And that was the Bible. So, yeah. Very, very hardcore cultish background. Aleister Crowley. So, exclusive brethren. Check them out sometime. They've got an ex-exclusive brethren on YouTube talking,
And a lot of the stuff that she says has made me realize that there's a lot in common that we all have in common here. Okay. Exelizer says Marvin Gaye murdered by his cross-dressing father. Strict, crazy Christians. Yep, that's a good point. Marvin Gaye was another person that was murdered by a very devout religious person. Mark Floyd says, no kidding, I've never been near the JW since I've been in the USA. Good for you, bro. You're lucky. Wow. All right, so let's check out the Prosperity Bible. This is the Prosperity Bible. It is about 1,271 pages. And like the regular Christian Bible, it is a compilation, a conglomerate of various books, a canon, a collection of various writings on wealth, prosperity, riches, abundance, money, opulence, opportunities. So let's see if I can pull it up on the main screen for you. We can get an image going. Prosperity Bible. The greatest writings of all time on the secrets to wealth and prosperity. So you're going to get the secrets to wealth and prosperity. Is that something you could get into? Is that something that might be interesting to you?
Honey, that ain't no secret. The secret is just getting a job or working hard, boo. Even if you got your own business, boo, you still gonna have to work hard, boo. That's the secret. Working hard, boo, every day, boo. All day, every day, boo. There is no secret to that, boo. You just gonna have to get out there and work and make some mistakes, boo, and then take a risk, boo.
Yeah?
Of course, boo. Ain't nothing gonna come to you for free from nothing, boo.
Yeah, that's true. I tend to agree with you on that. you think that's the only secret to work hard?
Well, boo, I will say this, boo. You're gonna have to know how to budget, maybe manage your money too.
All right. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't matter how much you make. I mean, you can make a million if you don't know how to manage it. You could still be broke.
That is true, honey.
All right, then. So I'm going to do another screen share. And are we ready for this one? All right. We got 6 viewers. I won't be able to see the chat, but I thank you for tuning in. We've got some new viewers, some new folks have tuned in. And we are covering the Prosperity Bible, the greatest writings of all time on the secrets to wealth and prosperity by Napoleon Hill. Let's see, we've got all kinds of cool people. We've got Benjamin Franklin, James Allen, Wallace D. Wattles, Ernest Holmes, Florence Scovel Shinn. Never heard of her. But check out the books we've got in here. We've got Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, classic. We've got Acres of Diamonds by Russell Conwell. As a Man Thinketh by James Allen. The Game of Life and How to Play It by Florence Scovel Shinn. The Science of Getting Rich by Wallace D. Wattles. Prosperity by Charles Fillmore. In Tune with the Infinite by Ralph Waldo Trine. The Master Key System by Charles F. Hanna. The Secret of Success by William Walker Atkinson. The Art of Money Getting by P.T. Barnum. The Way to Wealth by Benjamin Franklin. The Secret of the Ages by Robert Collier. The Conquest of Poverty by Helen Wilmans. How to Attract Success by F.W. Sears. The Power of Concentration by Theron Q. Dumont. How to Grow Success by Elizabeth Town. The Mental Equivalent by Emmett Fox. So yeah, we've got over 1,000 pages of prosperity right here at our fingertips. Are you ready? Are you ready for prosperity? All right, I'm ready.
I'm ready too, boo. But boo, I still stand by what I said, boo. You ain't gonna get nothing for nothing, boo. You gonna have to work your booty off, boo. I don't care who you are, boo. You gonna have. Big Boss says, did you hear about the Jehovah's Witnesses, boo? Okay, boo. What are we gonna look up? Let's see. Let's see, boo. Let me see. I'm gonna do some mojo right here for our listeners, boo. Some prosperity mojo, some real prosperity, not that Jehovah prosperity, boo. Because that Jehovah prosperity ain't gonna give you no real prosperity, boo. All that kind of prosperity is gonna do, boo, is gonna keep you down, boo. You're gonna be broke back, looking and scrapping and scraping, boo. You're gonna be hurting and struggling, boo, with that kind of thing, boo. The real kind of prosperity is smooth. And boo, you're gonna have a flow to it, boo. Now I'm not saying you're gonna have all kinds of diamond crusted, studded, star studded shoes and name brands, boo. I'm talking about a flow, you know, a peaceful flow of quality of life, feeling good. You got good friends, you got good love, you got good food, you got it good, boo. You know what I'm talking about? That kind of good, boo. That kind of prosperity, boo. And you don't want for nothing, boo. You can do it all, boo. That kind of prosperity, boo. Okay, boo, not that Jehovah Witness prosperity, boo. You don't want that kind of prosperity because that kind of prosperity ain't no real prosperity, boo. That kind of prosperity is nothing but hunger, boo. But boo, you ain't gonna be nothing but hungry up in that kingdom hall, boo. They're gonna be like, you give me money, give me money, give me money, go out and service, give me money, go out and service. And you're gonna be like, well, I ain't got no more time, boo. And they're gonna be like, well, give me money, 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 money. And I'm gonna be like, well, boo, I ain't got no more money either, boo. Well, they're gonna be like, well, give me more field service, give me more field service, boo. And then what you gonna do when you ain't got nothing left, boo? Well, then they're gonna toss you out like wilted lettuce, boo. They gonna toss you out like wilted lettuce, boo. Oh, Horner. Yeah, boo. So, boo,
Well, what book do you want to look at? You want to look at The Art of Money Getting? You want to look at How to Attract Success? The Science of Getting Rich?
well, boo, I think it's all nothing but word of knowledge, boo. Jehovah, Jehovah, Jehovah. I'm going to Jehovah rise first, boo. Jehovah, 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 Jehovah.
Oh, all right. So I'm going to read you a snippet then. How to use the will. This is from The Science of Getting Rich. Yikes. Sorry about that. Oh, that hurt my ears. Sorry. This is from The Science of Getting Rich on page 317. Page 317, the Prosperity Bible. The greatest writings of all time on the secrets to wealth and prosperity. Okay, so this is from The Science of Getting Rich, page 316 in the Prosperity Bible. And this is what it says here. Get that out here. All right, so this is what it says here. Chapter 8, Thinking in the Certain Way. The more clear and definite you make your picture, then the more you dwell upon it, bringing out all its delightful details. The stronger your desire will be, and the stronger your desire, the easier it will be to hold your mind fixed upon the picture of what you want. Okay, well, that doesn't sound like anything new, right? You probably already knew that. But I'm going to tie it in with you. I'm going to tie it in for you with this book, Adult Children of Abusive Parents. Remember in the section when we talked about reparenting, and it talked about creating new internal parents, and it talked about forming good parent images? Ah, yeah, you see? Forming your good mother internal image and your good father internal image, which is separate from your physical parents. So then, the more clear and definite you make your picture, the more you dwell upon it, the more you become engaged with it, the more you become involved with it. bringing out all its delightful details, the stronger your desire will be, and the stronger your desire, the easier it will be to hold in your mind, fixed upon the picture of what you want. In this case, if you were to work on reparenting yourself, then your want is to have wholesome internal parents that you can turn to throughout life's challenges and struggles and things like that, so that you can free up your physical genetic parents to be on whatever path that they are on, whether you join them on that or not. However, you're an independent adult with your own internal parents. You're no longer looking to those two people to be your parents. I mean, if you have a good relationship with them, you still want to respect them and spend time with them. And they're still mom and dad, but at the same time, you are not codependent on them emotionally, mentally, physically, spiritually. Some people are still financially dependent on their parents, and they're already in their 50s and 60s, So it's about reparenting, and the more clear and definite you make your picture, the more you dwell on it, then the stronger it becomes. Why is this tied into prosperity? Because prosperity is not just about economics, where you've got X amount of money in your bank account. Prosperity also includes emotional and mental healing and health and well-being. Okay, you can have a lot of money, but if you don't have any friends and you're lonely, you're just going to be a miserable person with a lot of money and probably a lot of opportunity to get in trouble or to be used. Everybody wants to be your friend when you have a lot of money, but they might not be real friends, and they might not be healthy or safe people to be around. But someone who doesn't have a lot of social skills or emotional well-being, well, they might be prone to those kinds of people. So then prosperity is an umbrella that includes mental and emotional wealth as well. Wealth in terms of having compassion, having enough compassion for yourself and other people, having nurture, being able to nurture and take care of yourself as well as nurture and take care of other people, and being balanced in that, being able to set safe and healthy boundaries, knowing where you end and the other person begins. That is prosperity too. And you can't go to those levels if you are in survival mode. If you are in survival mode, your brain is literally in fight or flight, and it has no resources left for intuition, for compassion, for humility, because those are at a higher level. If you're looking at Maslow's hierarchy of needs, and on the very bottom are the physical needs: food, shelter, safety, and at the top you've got self-realization, compassion, humility, art. All of these things require a mind that is at peace, that is healthy. And some people's mental health and emotional health has been hijacked to the point where they can't even work. So then that does cut into your finances. Finances and psychology and mental health are very closely related. They even have a field called behavioral finance. And it is a big field, and there are people with doctorates in that have studied that for years and years and can tell you all kinds of things, and can even show you patterns that correlate between psychology and financial stock market patterns, for example. Yeah, it gets really, really interesting. Behavioral finance, very interesting topic. You could lose yourself in it. But let's get back to the Prosperity Bible. So, something more is necessary, however, than merely to see the picture clearly. If that is all you do, you are only a dreamer. It will have little or no power for accomplishment. Behind your clear vision must be the purpose to realize it, to bring it out in tangible expression. And behind this purpose must be an invincible, unwavering faith that the thing is already yours, that it is at hand, and you have only to take possession of it. Okay, so this is something we haven't, this is something I've heard many times before, and it's really good. It's really great. So the whole point of that is to make a clear picture, to get yourself engaged in it, to not just have a still picture, but to get into it, jump into the picture and live it. Don't be afraid to get in there and do some virtual reality. Close your eyes, turn the TV off, turn the telephone off. If this is so important to you, your goals and what you want to do for you, then turn off the television, turn off the computer, close your eyes and get in there and do the virtual reality thing with yourself and your goal, right? Okay, so we got that. All right, cool. Now, there's a chapter on using the will, and I think the use of will here, I like this one here on page 322 of the Prosperity Bible, the greatest writings of all time on the secrets to wealth and prosperity. On page 322, it says, "Do not read religious books which tell you that the world is soon coming to an end." I like that. That's chapter 10 of The Science of Getting Rich. The chapter heading is called Further Use of the Will. And it starts off saying you cannot retain a true and clear vision of wealth if you are constantly turning your attention to opposing pictures, whether they be external or imaginary. Okay? So if you're sitting in a Kingdom Hall, you're not going to get wealth, baby. They're not trying to get you wealthy, okay? They might have put that word prosperity on the front of that little pamphlet track thingamajig, but that's just because they want something from you. They're not going to get you. Nothing from Jehovah's Witnesses is going to get you prosperity. Trust me on that. Do not tell of your past troubles of a financial nature if you had them. Do not think of them at all. Well, this is kind of dated because I think that in some cases you do want to look at your financial troubles if you've had them, especially with a financial counselor of sorts, But I think this is probably saying don't dwell on them unnecessarily. If it's in a setting where you have to confront things, yes. But don't let it bleed into your everyday experience. So do not read religious books which tell you that the world is soon coming to an end, and do not read the writings of muckrakers and pessimistic philosophers who tell you that it is going to the devil. The world is not going to the devil. It is wonderful becoming. True, there may be a good many things in existing conditions which are disagreeable, but what is the use of studying them when they are certainly passing away, and when the study of them only tends to check their passing and keep them with us? So, all right, it's telling you to stay focused. It's telling you not to entertain doubt. And, to stay focused. All right, I get that. Cool, that was that section. Let's see. What else? Let's see what the open chat has to say. Let's take a look at the chat and see what the folks in live chat. All right, let's see. We have 7 viewers. All right, thanks for tuning in. Appreciate you listening. We're opening up a support live stream for XJWs today and non-JWs and anyone who wants to have some kind of community or some kind of hangout to hang out with. I want to give a shout out to my new friends, old new friends, new old friends. Okay, so we go way back. They were in the congregation I was in. Way back, and one of them is Urban Ray. Shout out to Urban Ray. He's fresh out, I think, since about a year. And we've got my other friend. I'm going to just mention the initials, SFV. Okay, SFV, San Francisco Valley. Yeah, SFV. Yeah, because see, we have SGV, the San Gabriel Valley, and then you've got the Hollywood Hills Valley. I don't know, but anyway, yeah, SFV. I want to do a shout out to her and love ya. And in case you're tuning in or in case you're watching at some point in the future, you're listening. Want to give a shout out to you and a shout out to Skeeto Punk. I don't think he's JW, but he's been hanging around doing all kinds of good stuff, being supportive to the XJW community, being a voice out there speaking out against covering up of child abuse. Also to Bernie Trump, I want to give a shout out to Bernie Trump for making some space for the ex-Jehovah's Witness community there on his Twitter Periscope. He filmed his friend who warned about the Jehovah's Witness pedophile cover-ups, the two-witness rule. He was trying to warn people, and the way he was doing it, he had went to the bathroom and he saw this chalkboard where where you could write something on. And so he wrote on the chalkboard a warning message, warning people about the Jehovah's Witnesses and the rampant pedophilia within. And of course, this is something we all need to be worried about because they're coming to our front doors. They're knocking on our front doors. So apparently, he was trying to warn people by writing a message on the chalkboard, and the manager of the restaurant comes into the restroom and he wants to erase that message. He's upset. He doesn't want it there. And but he doesn't seem bothered by the curse words that were written on the chalkboard, the curse words and some of the other stuff that other people have left there. He wasn't concerned about that, but for some reason he didn't want the Jehovah's Witnesses to have a bad name. So this guy, Bernie Trump, he has a YouTube channel and he has quite a large following. He decided to let his followers know about that and know about the Jehovah's Witnesses. And so they filmed right there in front of the restaurant, and then they even warned the next set of customers that came in there. They warned them, and those customers, they stood there and listened, and they thanked them, so they thought about that. And then, of course, we've got it over here on this channel. So word of mouth, you're not going to get away with it, institutions. I don't care who you are. If you're a Jehovah's Witness or a restaurant, you're not going to get away with mistreating people anymore. Social media is the equalizer. So shout out to Bernie Trump, and shout out to everybody listening, everybody tuning in. I want to ask you, what do you think about prosperity? What do you think about wealth? Do you like talking about that topic? Is it something that's boring to you? Is it something that you want to hear more of? Because this Prosperity Bible, it's over 1,000 pages. So I've got a lot to talk from, Okay, so we've got Mop Floyd saying, I'll bring my own personal J-stick guitar. In live chat saying, I've been listening but was doing dishes. Thank you, Bob. All right, guitar, cool. Exelizer, he says, cults use this info. Cults use this to make them the parent and then take all the prosperity. That is such an excellent point, Exelizer. Am I saying your name right? Excelsior. Excelsior. There we go. Ah, tongue-tied. Every time I see you, buddy, I get tongue twisted. All right, so basically, cults will use this to place themselves as your internal parents. That's why you have these titles like Father, Mother Mary, Father God. the Reverend Father. You see, it's right there. It's right there, Mother Mary. So you have them in the place of your parents. So now you're going to instead of going within yourself, you're now going outside of yourself, and that's codependence, and that's boundary invasion. You no longer have a boundary there. All right, Obed, enjoy your shopping. Obed B says, sorry guys, had to go shopping. I'll be listening also. All right, so we've got a lot of people listening and doing other things, multitasking, but they're still tuning in, and I appreciate that. All right, so Excelsior. I'm gonna take myself saying it correctly, and then I'm just gonna hit that tape button every time I say your name. Wealth is the dividing line in society. Yes, yes, it is a dividing line, and I would say that wealth comes in different kinds of flavors too. For example, I've seen some individuals that drive huge Cadillac SUVs. They have nice Lexus. You know, they have luxury vehicles. They have expensive name brand clothes and shoes. I mean, they just look impressive. And then you find out that they're living in a one bedroom apartment in North Hollywood or Eagle Rock with about 10 other people. So is that wealth? Well, to them it's wealth. From their standpoint, where they're from, you know, they might be refugees, coming from a war-torn country where they might not have had even a tin roof over their head. So in their eyes, they are wealthy. Maybe in someone like the average, I'll say the average suburban middle class person, that wouldn't be wealthy because they don't even have a home, and they've just invested a large sum of money in depreciating assets that don't appreciate, they don't accumulate value, they decrease in value. So the money that you've put in today, you won't be able to get out tomorrow. Whereas appreciation of assets, what you put in today is going to be more valuable. You're going to get more out of it tomorrow. Well, theoretically, you know, it's not going to happen overnight. But so I think there's different flavors of wealth.
Hey, Waking Possum, honey boo. Waking Possum in the live chat says, honey, hi, Bob, honey boo. Your thought maps have helped me so much, honey. Doing my own now, boo. Woke up February 17th. Thanks to XJW community, honey child. Thanks all, honey. Honey boo.
Well, I'm glad you are woke up. Welcome to your new freedom. And yes, I'm glad the mind maps have helped you. I love mind maps. Those things kick butt. Whenever I have a hard time remembering or I need to review information or even trigger and activate new skill behaviors, those things rock. Pull out my mind maps. Bam. I have a huge stack of them too. I have a huge treasure chest. I think I've got like 2,500 pages of mind maps that I've done since 2012. Yeah, I've gone through a lot of books. I've lost count. I've gone through a lot of different kinds of books, mostly how-to, self-help books, you know. All right, so there's one right here I wanted to read. This is still in the Prosperity Bible. This is in the book called The Art of Money Getting. It says here, in the United States, we have more land than people. It is not at all difficult for persons in good health to make money. In this comparatively new field, there are so many avenues of success open, so many vocations which are not crowded. Any person of either sex who is willing, at least for the time being, can engage in any respectable occupation and find lucrative employment. So this was written some years back, you know, I think this was written probably in the 1800s. P.T. Barnum, 1880. So a part here that I appreciated, true economy consists in always making the income exceeding the outgo. Now, isn't that interesting? Because Stephanie Letty in one of the videos says that she's having more outflow than is coming in, and then she's telling the Jehovah's Witnesses that she needs them to bring in a little bit more dough. Okay, so what do you think about that? Bob's picture has an eye in a pyramid sideways, Illuminati. What do you think about that? Excelsior says, not having people trying to kill you, I shall wealth indeed. So a nice car then fits into society's view of wealth and success, plus Lexus are nice. They are very nice. They are very nice. But honestly, I'm going to tell you something. When I was younger, I used to say I want as much money as I can get. You know, I was like anybody else. I always needed a little more money, no matter how much there was. But now that I'm more mature, I realize, do you really want more? Because you're going to have more responsibility that comes along with it. Even if somebody handed it to you, the responsibility of managing it properly still rests with you. And how easy is it for easy money to easy come, easy go, right? You start having all kinds of creative ideas on how to spend it. And then don't let other people that might not be so healthy to be around know that you've just got a windfall. Because then they're going to come up with creative ideas on how to get some of that from you. Guitar in the live chat says, Watchtower is not offering anything worthwhile and they're being fined, paying out settlements, losing properties, hence the need for more cash. Yes, that's why Stephanie Letty was saying they needed more donations. You see, your donations are going out for lawsuits. They're not going out here to help anybody become a Jehovah's Witness. No. Most of that money is going either for people to live it up real good or to pay out lawsuits and fines and things like that. Wake and Possum in live chat says, in this world, wealth equals power, freedom, and liberties others can buy. Yeah, wealth does equal a certain kind of power, for sure. Do you think that wealth is the ultimate? Do you think it trumps all the other kinds of powers? Do you think it's the top one to achieve or attain? Success breeds success. You know, that is true. When you get into that flow, you start experiencing a momentum, and it can be really great. It can be really, really great. So, I was going to read you something from another book we covered the other day about currency that had a point that I wanted to tie in with prosperity. It was from the socionomics book, but you know, when you have like this piece of info and you can't find it, you know it's there. Well, oh, here we are. Preventative. This is on in the book Socialnomics: How Social Media Transforms the Way We Live and Do Business by Eric Quammen. This is on page 47 in the chapter Social Media Preventative Behavior. And this is in the key points section, page 47. Businesses and people are willing to have open diaries within social media as a way to stay connected because their ultimate desire is to feel a part of something larger than themselves. So both people and businesses are doing this because they want to stay connected. They want to be part of something larger. Even businesses want to be part of something larger. All right, so individuals and companies are starting to lead their lives as if their mother, or in case of businesses, the board directors were watching their every move because they probably are. While there are downsides to these behavioral changes caused by social media, overall, it's a beneficial thing for society. I'm looking up at the chat room and I'm seeing Excelsior. His comment just now, he's saying, yeah, a whole bunch of women with periods at the same time. I don't know what he's talking about, but I want to stay away from whatever area that is at because that's a dangerous place.
Oh, honey, you best to stay away from them ladies, boo. Don't you rub them the wrong way, boo. You go. You best to leave them women alone, honey, boo. Hey, big boss, honey, boo. Me and T says all those concubines and breeding. Look at King Solomon.
Oh, that is so crazy. Yeah, now didn't they consider that wealth in the ancient times? And some people probably still think that's wealthy. A man with hundreds of concubines. I don't think that's healthy. 300, didn't Solomon in the Bible supposedly he had three 300 concubines? I don't know. That doesn't sound like a healthy relationship to me. It's enough keeping up with one woman. I can't imagine having 300 women to deal with. Good God. Can you imagine the fucking drama? It's already enough with one woman. But 300 different personality changes every fucking month? Hell no. I'll be dead. I don't think this King Solomon really had knew all these concubines. It's hard enough to really get to know one woman, you know, maybe two, three at a time. But when after like four or five different, you just you don't have enough time or space in your head to keep up with all these people. Now, Mia T, she's got something she's saying about Hitler. She says that Hitler was backed up by the money. Yeah, I tend to agree to that thought path there, Mia. Yeah, I think there was some of that going on for sure. Excelsior says there so were the Allied forces. War is expensive. King Solomon's Concubine by Mia, a joke. And Wake and Possum in the live chat says, how about being in service with PMS? You don't even know. I'm going to tell you something. It seemed like they had, there was always somebody with PMS and they weren't even a female. Some of these elders seem to have PMS too. I couldn't stand their attitude sometimes. All right, so let's look at this socialnomics again. It says here, social media enables customers to instantly post what they like and don't like about anything from products to service to government. And of course, to religious institutions, right? This is us, right? We're the customers of JW.org, of Jehovah's Witnesses. We were the customers. We were the members, we're the ex-members, so we can instantly post what we like and don't like about anything from products to government to Jehovah's Witnesses, okay? Which is what we're doing right now.
Oh, honey, don't do that, boo. Negative comments and posts are easier for companies to find with social media, boo. Hence, those companies have more time to focus on the solution rather than spending time finding the problem, boo. So what does that tell you, boo? Well, boo, I think the negative comments and posts, this book right here, he says the negative comments and posts, honey, are easier for companies and institutions to find with social media. Those companies have more time to focus on the solution, boo, because you already got the problem stated by the customer comments and posts on social media, like this YouTube broadcast, honey boo. Do you get that, honey boo? Do you understand what I'm trying to tell you, honey boo? I'm trying to let you know this podcast is very valuable, boo. This YouTube live stream cast is very, very beneficial and financially valuable to you, boo. I'm talking about prosperity valuable, boo. Yeah, I said prosperity, boo. Okay, honey, boo. I'm gonna read this one more time so you can get it, boo. Negative comments, boo. Negative comments and posts, honey boo, are easier for companies to find with social media, boo, okay? We done already made the thing easy for you, boo, okay? All you gotta do is listen to this right here, boo. Listen to this live stream. Look at my Twitter pages, boo. Look at the Facebook. I done already got the problem done for you, boo. Now you can focus on the solution, which is get rid of that damn two-witness rule and bring out that list of law enforcement for starters, boo, okay? But anyway, effective companies and people, honey, embrace critical feedback, honey, boo. Digital comments that identify areas for improvement are invaluable, boo. So this live stream is invaluable to Jehovah's Witness, boo. Mm-hmm.
Well, there you have it, folks. Page 47 of Socialnomics, How Social Media Transforms the Way We Live and Do Business by Eric Qualman. Now you say, weren't we just in the Prosperity Bible? Why are you in this one? Well, this is it. I'm trying to let you know that the XJW community and their critical feedback, their negative comments are invaluable. They're invaluable to you, Jehovah's Witness. Gobo, governing body, Gobo girls. This right here, what I'm doing is invaluable. Do you have enough sense to realize that? Well, if you don't, I'm not going to lose any sleep, but you're going to lose a lot of money. So do what you want, but digital comments that identify areas for improvement are invaluable. Ineffective companies spend time attempting to obfuscate and manipulate negative comments within social media. Good companies spend time addressing and resolving customer complaints. So, there you have it. Which one do you think the Jehovah's Witnesses are? Do you think they're the ones that spend time attempting to obfuscate and manipulate? Or do you think they spend time addressing and resolving?
Well, Hornet, I think they spend time manipulating and trying to obfuscate and manipulate and cover up, boo. Mm.
All right, so part of prosperity is understanding the dynamics of social media. Understand where you're at, you know. P.T. Barnum didn't have social media back then, so he didn't write about it. All right. He says true economy consists in always making the income exceed the outgo. Wear the old clothes a little longer if necessary. Dispense with the new pair of gloves. Mend the old dress. Live on plainer food if need be, so that under all circumstances, unless some unforeseen accident occurs, there will be a margin in favor of the income. A penny here and a dollar there, placed at interest, goes on accumulating, and in this way the desired result is attained. Require some training, perhaps, to accomplish this economy, but when once used to it, you will find there is more satisfaction in rational saving than in irrational spending. All right, so what does that tell you? Budgeting, keeping track of every cent in and out. If you don't take anything away from this live stream today, take away this simple thing. It's very simple, but it's super hard to do consistently every day, day in and day out. Keep track of every cent coming in and out, no matter how it comes to you, whether it comes to your paycheck, a distribution or dividends, or if you find it on the floor, if you find a penny, document, put it in your bookkeeping journal, in your log, however you do it, in your, some people use mint.com on their cell phone. Keep track of every cent in and out. I know you ain't doing it. Don't tell me you're doing it. Are you keeping track of every penny? Every penny. No, I'm not saying most of it. I'm saying every. No, I'm not saying most of it. No, I'm saying every single instance. Yes. And that's why I said it's hard. It's hard. Hey, I'm telling you, I'm still trying to work on that. But keeping track of every cent in and out has helped me, and it will force you to notice your spending habits. Also, a budget. You want to set a healthy budget. Google what healthy budgets are like. Not all budgets will fit all people. You're going to need to look at you and your situation, craft your budget based on the fundamentals, of course, but also customize it. Your budget's not going to be the same. You're not going to have the same priorities in your budget if you're a married man with 4 kids, as opposed to a single man with a dog. Okay, your budget's going to be different. Your budget might be different if there's a family illness, if there's an elderly grandmother there that has an illness, as opposed to maybe a couple that doesn't have any kids and they're healthy, and they have a certain lifestyle. Their budget is going to be different. Okay, so keep track of every cent in and out. Notice where your gazingas pins are. That's what it will. The first thing you're going to notice when you really start doing this now, when you really start looking and keeping track of every cent in and out, check your bank account numbers every day, 2 or 3 times a day. Look at the numbers, add them up, do some simple math. Don't be afraid to take out a pencil and do some simple math. Listen, Jehovah's Witnesses handicap people mathematically, among other things. They'll screw your head up about math. You got to get rid of the JW math, the Jehovah's Witness math, because you're going to be broke. You're not going to have no prosperity. The only prosperity someone's going to have is up there, those fat boys, the go-go girls. They've got the prosperity, but you're not going to have it. So keep track of every cent in and out. It's so simple, but it's so hard to do. Okay, and then budget. Before you go grocery shopping, know how much you're going to spend. Add up the items. If you're not sure what they exactly cost, you can do a cost estimate. You know a jar of mayonnaise is not going to cost more than, what, $5, right? You know that. So, a bag of oranges is not going to cost more than a certain amount. A bottle of cranberry juice or a carton of eggs, you can cost estimate, and you want to have an estimate of how much your grocery list is. Yeah, I know this is extra work, but look, this is what it takes.
Honey, I done told you you're going to have to work to get prosperous, girl. Did you think I was going to give you some magic formula and have you do some kind of crazy mess, and then you come back and say, oh, Sister Smith, you told me to do this and get me wealthy. Well, I did it, and I still ain't wealthy. That's because your ass ain't work. That's why. Then get out there and work, honey, boo.
All right. So, Waking Possum in the live chat said, posted 2 of your sister videos on my Facebook, and my JW relatives aren't my friends anymore. So I guess it works. Which videos did you post, Waking Possum?
Oh, honey, did you want to get rid of them? Well, I told you. I told you he's going to get rid of them Jehovah's Witness, bro. He says, Anthony Morris here. See, negative comments are part of the satanic mind virus, so you just follow the clean and approved governing body. The solution is to disfellowship and maximally shun, see? Yeah. Well, Waking Possum, the nonprofits are different, and yes, Excelsior is correct. The tax situation is a little different, but we do have a petition that we want people to sign to get their charity status revoked and to get them to pay back taxes to the IRS. Because we don't, obviously they're not a charity. So let's read one more passage from the Prosperity Bible here.
I'm going to go over to the master key system. This is like a real Bible, you know that? It's real thick. It's got over 1,000 pages. People, when I've had it out in the bookstore, these people, they're like, oh, God bless you, because it says Bible on the top, but it's not, a religious Bible. It's a prosperity Bible, but then, these people will always come, oh, you're reading the Bible, God bless you, and it's kind of strange, because it's not really that kind of Bible. But yeah, all right. So I want to read part 15 here of the Master Key System. This is one of my favorite parts. I've read it before, but I can't help but go back to it a little bit. It talks about these parasites that they had experiments with, and this is on page 679 of the Prosperity Bible. And it says that they had these parasites that were found on plants indicate that even the lowest order of life is enabled to take advantage of natural laws. So the experiment was made by Jacques Loch, MD, PhD, a member of the Rockefeller Institute. In order to obtain material, potted rose bushes are brought into a room and placed in front of a closed window. If the plants are allowed to dry out, the aphids or parasites, previously wingless, changed to winged insects. After the metamorphosis, the animals leave the plants, fly to the window, and then creep upward on the glass. It is evident that these tiny insects found that the plants on which they had been thriving were dead, and that they could therefore secure nothing more to eat and drink from the source. The only method by which they could save themselves from starvation was to grow temporary wings and fly, which they did. Experiments such as these indicate that omniscience, as well as omnipotence and omnipresent, is omnipresent, and that the tiniest living thing can take advantage of it in an emergency. So let's reiterate. Experiments such as these indicate that omniscience as well as omnipotence is omnipresent, and that the tiniest living thing, like aphids or little parasites, can take advantage of it in an emergency. Part 15 will tell you more about the law under which we live. It will explain that these laws operate to our advantage, that all conditions and experiences that come to us are for our benefit, that we gain strength in proportion to the effect expended, and that our happiness is best attained through a conscious cooperation with natural laws. So far, what do you think about that? We've got these experiments with these parasites. These parasites grew wings. They were wingless at first, and then we had them grow wings. I find that kind of interesting. I don't know. Ex-Jehovah's Witnesses, it's kind of like you're sitting at the Kingdom Hall. And you're sitting there listening to the talk. It's like any other day. Right? Jehovah, Jehovah, Jehovah. But for some reason, you look up at the screen and you see the governing body guy, and he's talking like always, but there's something different. You can't quite put your finger on it. And then you reach down to your LG pad, your iPad, your cell phone, and you pretend to go to the website that everyone else next to you is going to. But you're not going to jw.org. You go to a text message, a Facebook click, something you don't remember, but you accidentally click something, and boom, that's it. You read and you read, and one sentence leads you to the next sentence. And before you know it, you've spent a whole hour reading apostate material. And now it's time to stand and sing the song and fellowship and pretend like all of this stuff in your head right now ain't happening. When brother so-and-so is coming over to shake your hand and invite you out in service. And the only thing you want to do is go home and get on that computer because you can't believe what you just saw.
At the Kingdom Hall, Bo! At the Kingdom Hall, Bo! What is going on, Bo? This is the last day, sort of, Bo. It's Joe's great tribulation. We can't keep the devil out of the Kingdom Hall no more, Bo. We used to keep the devil out of the Kingdom Hall, but it's coming through our cell phones, Bo. It's coming through the jw.org website, Horner. Oh, Jehovah.
Well, we're still talking about wealth and prosperity. We're still talking about how it relates to social media, how it relates to we're still talking about prosperity. We just got done talking about these aphids that they did experiments on and how they grew wings in a situation where their food supply was gone. I kind of thought of us flying to the moon like that, or flying to Mars out in space. But yeah, I felt like I had wings when I left the Jehovah's Witnesses. I felt free. I felt very free not to have to go to field service, you know. I felt free not to have to wear uncomfortable clothes. But at the same time, it was kind of scary, you know, because you were told that if you leave, you're going to be destroyed at Armageddon. You're not you're going to lose everything. Nobody's going to talk to you anymore from the Kingdom Hall. So if you're currently going through all of that, just want to let you know you're not alone. You know, we're here for you. And you don't have to go through it alone. We got your back. All right, so what do you think about prosperity and all that good stuff, you know? Mental health goes along with prosperity, as we've covered already. Being able to recover and heal from an abusive past goes along with prosperity. Okay? So you're going to have to work at it a little bit in more ways than one. It's not just about the money in the bank account, but it's also about being able to budget it. It's also being able to keep track of it, to manage your spending. All right, let's move on. The laws under which we live are designed solely for our advantage. These laws are immutable. We cannot escape their operation. Okay, so there's a foundation there we can follow, a structure, right? Okay, let's see what else we got. That we reap what we sow is mathematically exact. We gain permanent strength directly to the extent of the effort required to overcome difficulties. All right, let's look at that a little bit. Reap what we sow. We all know about that one, right? Okay, easy enough. Mathematically exact. Huh, okay. Gain permanent strength exactly to the extent of the effort required to overcome difficulties. All right, that makes sense, right? You go to the gym, you lift 5 pounds, and you work out with 5 pounders, and you stay working out with 5 pounders, you're going to have a different type of strength than if you worked your way up to 50 pounders or 100-pound dumbbells, right? It makes sense. So permanent strength is gained to the extent and to the effort required to overcome difficulties. Okay, the amount of effort you put into it. Do you think that there's a certain amount of strength that perhaps XJWs and survivors of abuse could have attained through overcoming difficulties and having to expend tremendous amounts of efforts to survive? I think so. I think there's a lot of us in the community with an immense amount of strength, collectively and individually. In order to possess vitality, thought must be impregnated with love. Love is a product of the emotions. It is therefore essential that the emotions be controlled and guided by the intellect of reason. Okay, so there has to be an element of passion. You have to love something. there has to be a fuel, a want, a desire. Love is a product of the emotions. So emotional currency, emotional energy, right? Now look what it says. It says it is essential that the emotions be controlled and guided by the intellect and reason. So when you're talking about wealth and prosperity, you're talking about intellect, reason, self-control, critical thinking, logic, love, and the emotions. Okay. So what do you think about that? Logic, reason. Are we able to use enough of logic and reason? The logical aspect, the rational mind. Are we as Jehovah's Witnesses or ex-Jehovah's Witnesses, are we strong in that? Have we exercised enough? Have we put enough effort to overcome logical difficulties or difficulties in reasoning and rationalizing? Have we gained any permanent strength to the extent of the effort required to overcome rational difficulties and problems, logical difficulties and problems, fallacies? This is still wealth we're talking about. This is still prosperity we're talking about. But now, since we're here, let's move on. The first form which thought will find is language or words. This determines the importance of words, that they are the first manifestation of thought. Words are the first manifestation of thought, the vessels in which thought is carried. They take hold of the ether, and by setting it in motion, they reproduce the thought to others in the form of sound. So your thoughts right now, your emotions are key in your degree of prosperity and the prosperity that we're going to share together. Because I believe in being prosperous together. And prosperity is more than just the money. It's about friendship, belonging. It's about community. It's about health, fitness, putting some magic in your life. You know, whether it's art and music. You know what I'm talking about, right? All right, so here we are. We're still with wealth, but now we've got the ideas of love, emotions, and language, logic, rational, critical thinking, reasoning ability. Okay? Are you starting to get the picture a little bit clearer? And this is probably stuff you already knew. You know, this isn't something that isn't mind-blowingly breaking news, right? We all already know this. But putting it together in this kind of way, have you ever thought of it? You know, maybe it's a little different. Maybe it's a different way because it still ties into socialnomics and how social media transforms the way we live and do business. And that still ties into adult children of abusive parents. Because remember earlier when we talked about prosperity in the science of getting rich, talked about how to make the image clear in your mind? Well, adult children of abusive parents, they talked about reparenting yourself and building your inner mom and dad and building that image up. Boom, you're still in wealth and prosperity. You see, this is real prosperity. Not the Jehovah's Witness prosperity, which basically means you going from door to door, pounding the pavement, and putting your energy and time into other people's stuff and not getting anything from it. As opposed to this kind of prosperity, which means you taking your life in your own hands and creating what you want out of it and being loved and supported and healing yourself, freeing yourself. All right, so speaking of language, let's look at the chat room here. Let's see what the open chat has to say. Live chat. We've got 4 viewers. 4 viewers in the house. We've got Waken Possum in the live chat. Excelsior. And a few other people listening in. All right, cool.
Well, honey, Waking Possum says parents donate money to JW.org instead of college fund. Sad, honey. Yeah, honey, that is sad, boo. That is real sad. Excelsior says, honey, money donated spent on literature damning college education, boo. And that beachfront won't buy itself, boo. Gotta have some beachfront money, boo. Best interest intellectually not always achieved because we're primates, honey, in shoes with tails and histories. Honey boo, I love that. I like the way you wrote tails too, boo. I love that, honey. You got some writing in you, honey boo. And then Waking Possum, honey, he says, filling your mind with emotional and spiritual wealth, honey boo. Peace and satisfaction, honey. Wealth should be measured by your own satisfaction, honey child. Just my opinion, honey, like beeholes, boo.
Yeah, she's fun. All right. So we're still on wealth. Now we've got to the ideas of critical thinking, intellectualism, emotions, love, overcoming difficulties, and language. Words, language, the manifestation of thought. Okay? All right. Why is language so important? We cannot escape from the pictures we incessantly photograph on the mind. Here we are with those images again. You see, it's psychotherapy, psychology. Every psychotherapy book you will read will have you do some kind of creative visualization or imaging. Every credible psychotherapist or counselor or mental health professional that is helping you work through something innovatively will have you do this. They will have you create images and visualizations in your mind. All right. We cannot escape from the pictures we incessantly photograph on the mind. And this photography of erroneous conceptions is exactly what is being done by the use of words when we use any form of language which is not identified with our welfare. So language, words create pictures on your mind subconsciously and on my mind. Those words you're typing in the screen, in the chat screen, they're creating images. All right, cool, right? So now that we talked about words, I want to introduce you to the Trivium.
Boo, you're just going all over the place, but somehow you are tying these things together, boo. I don't know how you're doing it, boo, because these things don't need to be tied together. They are different subjects from different arenas, boo. I don't know how you tying all this together, boo. You crazy, boo, but somehow it makes sense, boo. I don't know what you're doing to me, boo.
All right. So, the Trivium, speaking of words. Remember, we're still talking about wealth, But wealth is big. It doesn't just stay in one book, right? Wealth can't just stay in one book. It's too wealthy. Prosperity, it's too big to stay in one book. That's the whole point. It's abundant. It's rich. It's flowing, right? So, language is the manifestation of your thoughts, which create your reality, which create and help you to focus, and which is part of prosperity and wealth. So the trivium is basically, um, I don't know if you've ever heard of the trivium before, but I want to introduce the XJW community to the trivium. The trivium, the liberal arts of logic, grammar, and rhetoric, understanding the nature and function of language. Now, grammar in the trivium is not the grammar that you might have learned in school. This is not the same kind of grammar. This grammar is a little bit different. There's a general grammar and there's a specific grammar. Grammar is a type of mental magic. It could be known as an occult science of altering physical circumstances of your life and employing psychic or non-physical means to mediate a transformation. You ever thought of grammar that way? I sure as heck didn't at school, but yeah, Google it. Grammar is associated with the occult and magical arts. Yeah, everybody's screaming occult and evil, which does, occult, by the way, doesn't mean evil. If you look up occult into the dictionary, it does not say evil. It means hidden. So grammar, your language, the language you speak, okay, the construction of it, the grammar of it is associated with the occult. It is the key to esoteric possibilities of mental magic. Here is where we're going. Mental magic through language to create and augment our prosperity. See, we all already have a lot of prosperity compared to someone else, right? But now we want to augment it. We want more of it, but we want more of it not just for the sake of more, right? In the right places for the right reasons, right? So, and you'll work that out in your own way. But the trivium, specifically grammar, is the key to esoteric possibilities of mental magic implicit in grammar, etymology, and semantics of language. And it comes from the word grammare, G-R-A-M-A-R-Y-E, or glamour, which means magic spell or magic beauty. Within the very structure of our language are magical concepts that lie hidden. So occult science, magic, these concepts, these fundamentals lie hidden within the very structure of the language that you and I are communicating with today. How prosperous is that?
Oh, hon, that is real prosperous, boo.
So I'm going to read you a couple of thingamajigs from the Trivium, the liberal arts of logic, grammar, and rhetoric, understanding the nature and function of language. Now, this was written by a Catholic Sister Miriam Joseph.
Sister Miriam Joseph, honey, boo.
But this isn't Catholic. This is strictly grammar, rhetoric, and logic. She does sprinkle the God stuff in there in between. So, you know, I'm not much into the religious thing, and I don't really care for that kind of language. But because this is the Trivium, I do tolerate it, and thankfully she doesn't get, she's not biased or judgmental about it. You know, it's just very general. Sometimes she'll quote a scripture to be positive or to make a point about something. You know, there's that. But the Trivium, the liberal arts of logic, grammar, and rhetoric, understanding the nature and function of language. Now, This thing has 11 parts. We're not going to get into them, but basically, this is what I want to share with you about it and tie it into prosperity. All right. The Trivium teaches us that language evolves from the very nature of being human. Because we are rational, we think. Remember, we need to be able to rationalize in order to produce wealth. In order to manage our money, to budget, we have to be able to be rational. If we can't be rational, we're going to be spending on impulse every time we pass the candy aisle or some kind of gazingas pin aisle, right? Okay, so it still makes sense. So you've got the trivium here that teaches us that language evolves from the very nature of being human, okay? Because we are rational, we think. Because we are social, we interact with other people. So having friends, having belonging, having a sense of community, that still goes under prosperity. You know, if you have a lot of money but you don't have any friends, life is still not good. You're still not happy, and it still hasn't really, you're still missing something. All right, so being able to interact and be social with other people is a good thing here. All right, we use a physical medium because we are corporal. We invent symbols to express the range of practical, theoretical, and poetical experiences that make up our existence. Words allow us to leave a legacy of our experience to delight and to educate those who follow us. Because we use language, we engage in a dialogue with the past and the future. So, words enable us to have a dialogue with the past and the future. How does the trivium help us use language to engage in such a dialogue with the past and future and to negotiate our own lives? Aristotle's theories of language and literature underlie this work. His 10 categories of being provide a central focus. Okay, so there's 10 different aspects to existence. And this ties in with the Kabbalistic tree, which has the 10 Sephiroth, or the 10 divine emanations. So Aristotle calls this the 10 categories of being. Words are categorized by their relationship to being and to each other. When a speaker or writer uses a word, assigning it a particular meaning, it becomes a term and enters the realm of logic. Aristotle's categories enable us to translate the linguistic symbol into a logical entity ready to take its place in a proposition. Okay, so basically what this is saying is that the beginning or the fundamental of language requires that you have categories, that you have definitions. Okay, that's basically it. And Aristotle had 10 of these basic categories from which our language that we're speaking now has been built up. Okay, all right, easy enough. So other than that, what's the big deal with the trivium? Well, like I said, there's 3 parts to it. Logic, the art of thinking. Grammar, the art of inventing and combining symbols. Rhetoric, the art of communication. The trivium, the 3 arts of language pertaining to the mind. So the trivium is it is a tool for mental truth, logic, rational, critical thinking. You've got grammar and rhetoric. All right. You have 4 more other parts. That one's called the quadrivium. And those are the 4 arts of quantity pertaining to matter, or number pertaining to matter. So basically you have the 7 liberal arts. 1/2 pertain to the mind or spirit, and the other half pertain to matter or physical world. All right. So it says here, I wanted to tell you a little bit about what the big deal with the trivium is and how it ties into wealth beyond just what I've told you. Okay, so These arts of reading, writing, and reckoning have formed the traditional basis of liberal education, each constituting both a field of knowledge and the technique to acquire that knowledge. So the trivium is both a field of knowledge and a technique to acquire that knowledge. It's both a tool and the knowledge to get the tool. I mean, wait. It's both the knowledge and the tool to get that knowledge. Yeah. The degree Bachelor of Arts is awarded to those who demonstrate the requisite proficiency in these arts. All right. Today, as in centuries past, a mastery of the liberal arts is widely recognized as the best preparation for work in professional schools such as those of medicine, law, engineering, or theology. Aha!
What, honey? Let me read that, boo. Today, as in centuries past, honey boo, a mastery of the liberal arts is widely recognized, honey child, as the best preparation for work in professional schools, boo, such as those of medicine, law, engineering, and theology, honey child. Those who first perfect their own faculties through liberal education, honey, are thereby better prepared to serve others in a professional or other capacity, honey boo. So you mean to say, honey, if some of these elders were to get some liberal education, honey, they will be better prepared to serve the congregation in a professional or other capacity?
Well, I think they probably still would need to go to some kind of university education if they're going to be professionals, but it definitely would make them much better off in some kind of way, I'm sure.
The seven liberal arts, honey, differ essentially from the many utilitarian arts, such as carpentry, masonry, plumbing, janitorial, mopping floors, cleaning toilets, salesmanship, printing, editing, banking, law, medicine, or care of the souls, honey. And from the seven fine arts, honey, architecture, instrumental music, sculpture, painting, literature, and drama and dance. For both the utilitarian arts and the fine arts are transitive activities, honey, whereas the essential characteristic of the liberal arts is that they are eminent in intransitive activities, honey. What does all that mean, honey boo?
Well, it says the utilitarian artist produces utilities that serve the wants of humanity. All right. The fine artist, if he is of the highest order, produces a work that is a thing of beauty and joy forever, and that has the power to elevate the human spirit. Okay, so the fine artist creates something that is a thing of beauty and joy forever, whereas the utilitarian artist produces something for the wants of humanity. In the exercise of both the utilitarian and the fine arts, although the action begins in the agent, it goes out from the agent and ends in the object produced, and usually has a commercial value, and therefore the artist is paid for the work. In the exercise of the liberal arts, however, the action also begins in the agent and ends back in the agent, who is perfected by the action. Consequently, the liberal artist, far from being paid for his hard work, of which he receives the sole and full benefit, usually pays a teacher to give needed instruction and guidance in the practice of the liberal arts. The intransitive character of the liberal arts may be better understood from the following analogy. All right, here we go.
Okay, honey, let me see this. Okay, so the intransitive character of the liberal arts, honey, the carpenter planes the wood, the rose blooms, honey. The action of the transitive verb, like planes, begins in the agent but goes across and ends in the wood, honey. The action of an intransitive verb, like blooms, begins in the agent and ends in the agent, the rose, which is perfected by blooming, honey.
Okay, all right, all right. So whatever that means, it's still over my head too. It's liberal arts. I was never taught that.
Me neither, honey. We'll get it one day, hon.
Okay, so the utilitarian or servile arts enable one to be a servant of another person or of a corporation or of the state or of a business and to earn a living. The liberal arts, in contrast, teach one how to live. They train the faculties and bring them to perfection. They enable a person to rise above his material environment, to live an intellectual, a rational, and therefore a free life in gaining truth. And then, she'll put that scripture in here, you shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. The new motto, oh, she's talking about a university here, that's something else. But yeah, so there you have it. You've got the three classes of goods: valuable, useful, and pleasurable. So you got valuable goods, which are not only desired for their own sake, but which increase the intrinsic worth of their possessor. For instance, knowledge, virtue, and health. Those are considered valuable goods, okay? So information, knowledge. Useful goods are those which are desired because they enable one to acquire valuable goods. So, for instance, food, medicine, money, tools, books, they're useful goods. Okay. Pleasurable goods are those which are defined for their own sake because of the satisfaction they give their possessor. For instance, happiness, an honorable reputation, social prestige, flowers, savory food. They do not add to the intrinsic worth of their possessor, nor are they desired as means. Yet they may be associated with valuable goods or useful goods. All right, so a few more points and then I'm going to be done with this. It says here, the three R's, reading, writing, and reckoning, constitute the core not only of elementary education, but of also higher education, competence in the use of language and competence in handling abstractions, particularly mathematical quantities, are regarded as the most reliable indexes to a student's intellectual caliber. Accordingly, tests have been devised to measure these skills, and guidance programs in colleges and in the armed forces have been based on the results of such tests.
Well, honey, what is that telling me, boo? I don't know nothing about nothing. What, language and then what? Writing and abstract math? What?
Well, basically, what I'm telling you is that this book and this info can help you, because you're going to have to go beyond the Awake magazine if you're going to want a regular job and you're going to want prosperity. You're going to have to take tests and you're going to have to be intellectual and you're going to have to do some math and abstract thinking, you know?
I don't want to do any of that. I just want the prosperity, boo.
Well, like you said yourself, you got to work for it. Shoot, better get in your work.
Okay, honey. The three arts of language provide discipline of mind inasmuch as mind finds expression in language, boo. The four arts of quantity provide means for the study of matter inasmuch as quantity, honey. More precisely, extension. The function of the trivium is the training of the mind, honey child, for the study of matter and spirit, which together, honey, constitute the sum of reality. The fruit of education is culture, honey boo, which is defined as the knowledge of ourselves and our mind and the world of matter, honey boo.
All right, so there you have it. You've got language right in there with prosperity. And with language, you've got the ability to shape reality. You've got grammar, rhetoric, and logic. Logic being able to attain truth. And, logic's very useful, especially when you're dealing with financial situations. And so is being rational and being able to manage your emotions. So that's that. What are your thoughts on that? Let's see what we have in the live chat. All right. Waken Possum says, filling your mind with emotional and spiritual wealth, peace and satisfaction. Wealth should be measured by your own satisfaction. Okay. And then Excelsior says, okay, folks, I'm off. Great convo, Bob. Please come check out my channel for Lego-themed satire and some longer discussions. Peace. All right, my friend. We'll see you soon. And Waken Possum, she says, don't forget interrogation and mind control. That is true. That is so true. All right. So, what are your thoughts on that? The Trivium, we've covered adult children of abusive parents. We've covered socialnomics, and we've covered the Prosperity Bible. In any case, I think we're going to make it a wrap for now. I appreciate everyone for tuning in, and I appreciate everyone's engagement and interaction. We'll stick around for a little bit, but I think we're really going to come back tonight, maybe sometime late night tonight, and hold out another session of live streaming for the late night crew that might be coming off from work, that might be needing some support to hang out. And I appreciate everyone stopping by, and great combo, everyone. Love ya.
Honey boo, love you, honey boo.
All right, as a summary, we talked about prosperity. And prosperity includes mental health, healing, the Trivium, socionomics, and so much more. So I'm about to head out, but I want to let you know that I love you.
Sister Smith, Sister Billy Bertha May Smith loves you too, boo.
We love you, and feel free to stop by anytime, hang out. You don't have to let us know who you are. You can be incognito. Hey, if you want to be on the show, let me know. Oh, but let me know in the comments. What do you think about that?
Yeah, boo, what do you think about prosperity, honey boo? And the Trivium, honey?
Do you think that this live stream was worth listening to? Do you think it was valuable for you?
Love you too, Waking Possum, honey boo. Love you, Waking Possum. Love you, Waking Possum. Love you, Waking Possum. Uh-oh. Honey boo. Honey. Honey boo.
All right, honey boo. All right, I'm about to get off of here. I appreciate you tuning in. Thanks for tuning in. And let me know if you want to be on the show. Let me know what you thought of the show. Like it, love it, hated it. If you have any show ideas, also let me know. And if you have any news updates, please let me know. Operation Ultra 2015 at gmail.com. This is Bob Smith signing off with Sister
Billy Buzzer May Smith, honey boo. Honey. Thanks for listening, honey boo. Love ya. Jehovah, 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 Jehovah.